Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another movie discussion. This time, we are discussing two movies, two horror movies, I suppose, is probably their genre. One of them is called Obsession, and I think it came out technically in 2025. It was at some festival or something, I have no idea, but it's actually a 2026 movie. And also, Backrooms, which definitely came out in 2026. Now, for context, I have already seen Backrooms, so I am rewatching it, but I am joined by someone who is watching both of these movies for the first time, which is Kyle Entertainment.
This Obsessions year thing is absolutely disgraceful, Leader. Doesn't every movie come out a year earlier in the thingies? But this one is labeled as 2025. I'll never understand it.
I guess it's just bad timing. Like, if you have a festival toward the end of the year, then I guess you're unlucky. It's just when.
And it's not going to stop you, Leader, from titling this video discussing the two hottest horror movies of 2026.
I will just title it Discussing Backrooms and Obsession. That's probably what I'll do. People watching right now, they know, but I don't know yet. Yep. But
yes, it is. They do know, Leader.
So, Kyle, what do you know about these two movies? Or what did you know, I guess, before this?
Oh, I knew a lot of Leader. So first of all, I know the general premise of both. I was thoroughly spoiled. I would say, well, I thought I was thoroughly spoiled on Obsession. I knew like particular scenes. I'd seen some Twitter posts. I had even listened to whole discussions about it. But that's true of both movies. But on the Backrooms, I didn't know too much. But I had watched your whole video, which I have subsequently rewatched. I thought it was like 35 minutes, but it was only 15 minutes, so there wasn't that much in there. So I was kind of surprised at aspects of both, and didn't know the exact trajectory, or let's say the endings of either. So that was a little surprising when we got there. But yes, I knew a decent amount. I know the discussions around them. I knew their conceits. I knew a little bit about maybe the characters even.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. Well, for me, for anyone listening, Backrooms, I had seen it before, okay? But for Obsession, I knew, well, actually, up until very recently, I knew basically nothing about it, except for the main girl was like, everyone loved the main girl. It was like the best actor ever, and everyone was like, this is the greatest performance of all time or whatever. But then recently,
hold on. We've argued about this previously.
What?
Oh, go ahead. Well, I was just saying, at some point you were like, oh yeah, that Obsession movie, everybody loves that movie. We had like a post-Naruto discussion about this, and I said, no, Alita, it's not held in this high reputation. But you insisted on that. So well, it's interesting.
I've never heard a negative thing about this movie.
Praise.
I've only ever heard good things about this, but I guess we'll see what you can inform me on. But wait, the thing I knew about this movie is I did learn the general premise from like a TikTok meme or whatever, that I knew it was like about, I thought it was about a love potion. That's what I heard. Where it was like, you give like a Harry Potter like love potion thing, but it wasn't. It was a completely different thing. But I had the general idea that it was like about someone wishing or like something about love, you know? So yeah.
And you love, but we're not talking about Obsession yet.
True. So we're going to start today by talking about the Backrooms, and then we're going to try and not say stuff about Obsession yet, and then we'll talk about Obsession. So look at the timestamps. If for some reason you only want to watch one of these, then click on the timestamp, and congratulations. But Backrooms. So Kyle, what do we say? What do you know about Backrooms in general?
No. So, Leader E, you love this movie. I remember when your review first came out. I think you went to the theater for this movie, did you not?
I did. I was very excited for this. Ever since I saw the first trailer, I thought, man, what a cool trailer. So I thought, I'll watch this in the cinemas, and I did.
Leader E falls for trailers. What a bum.
Yep.
Now, true. So you loved it, and you gave it 5 stars. I watched your review then, and then I watched it yesterday when I watched this movie. So you're going to go first and say if you still love this movie as much as you did.
I still love this movie just as much as I did. This is a great movie. I was very happy. Also, I should say, the order I watched these movies is I watched Obsession first, and then I rewatched The Backrooms afterward, just for context. But, yeah.
That's the opposite for me, except there was no rewatching.
Yes.
You can see it on my Twitter thread, Alita, which you have to go to the replies to see now. How annoying.
Terrible.
But true, Alita. So basically, most opinions are the same, you would say?
Yeah, if anything, in the second watch through, I had like more things I noticed. I'm like, oh, that's like kind of cool. But pretty much the same takeaway I had last time, which I guess I could say, which is that I love the vibe of this movie. I love the directing of this movie, and I like the Backrooms themselves. Like it's just wonderful. Then there's like some stuff on top of that, which is like, there's some character stuff. There's some like plot stuff. Like this is whatever. Like I like it. It's pretty good. But the bulk of the stuff I like is like just the vibe and the Backrooms themselves. I love this stuff. So yeah.
Interesting. Do you want to do a one-sentence prediction?
It's kind of crazy, because this is like, I don't know. I could imagine you hating this movie and being like, everything about this is just so terrible. But then I could also imagine you saying, man, it was so boring. But I could also imagine you saying, actually, that was pretty interesting. So if I were to guess, you'd probably give this like a 3 out of 5 is my guess. I don't know.
Well, out of all the words you said, interesting was definitely the word that I would most associate with my interest, enjoyment, overall thoughts with this movie. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
like a low 4 stars elitery. And now this is actually interesting because I think I've had a bit of a Love and Pop situation elitery. If you recall, one time
Mm-hmm.
we reviewed Love and Pop and the greatest movie of all time, Ritual, and you said halfway through Love and Pop you were disgusted with this movie. You didn't know this was the worst movie you'd ever seen. And then
Yep,
when it came time to review it, you gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars, elitery. So
that's right.
congratulations, you came around on it. And you said after you watched it, as you continued to think about it, you liked it a little bit more. I think that is where I'm at, just not as grand a scale elitery. I think as
Mm-hmm.
I was watching it, I was kind of bored. I kind of was uninterested, and then
Mm-hmm.
things kept happening. And then as I've thought about it more, I'm like, well, that was pretty good, So we're not going to be a hater about this. So that's about where I'm at. I
That's
didn't give any
wonderful.
very specifics there, elitery. If I would to boil this down to 3 takeaways, elitery, I would say liminal spaces are cool, so I like that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
It was not very scary, which is interesting, and we'll talk about the meta narrative of that in a second, because this is maybe the 3rd or 4th horror movie I've ever seen. And before we've done horror movie discussions, we did Barbarian and Weapons,
Mm-hmm.
and I think even there my takeaway was these aren't that scary. So we got to
Yep.
check in on me and horror, so we can talk about that. And then what was the third one, Alita? Oh, I said the acting was kind of bad. That was my other takeaway, and that was definitely I was harboring ill will, especially early on towards this movie. That was
Mm-hmm.
probably the chief example why. There are other interesting things we can go to, but we'll start there earlier. So, reactions?
Well, firstly, I just thought, oh, the acting, because one of my favorite performances is Clark. Is it both acting you think is just like somewhat bad, or just what do you think?
A little bit. I don't know. Actually, it might not be acting. It might literally be like dialogue writing that I thought was a little
Yeah, okay.
stilted.
I
And I
could see
might
that.
literally be judging the woman because she has an accent, which is very
Oh my
mean of me,
goodness.
Leary, but but she was like stilted, and I was like, why isn't she acting good?
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen things with people with accents and thought they were good. And also, she was in one of those Oscar movies, as I've learned recently, so she must be good at acting. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a big liar, Leary. But also, I guess
Yeah.
that grew on me as we go through.
I'm curious if you're thinking, because the first bit of dialogue obviously we have the opening scene with the found footage, but the first proper bit of dialogue we get is kind of like a setup for an
It's a therapy
exposition.
scene.
Yeah, but in the setup of the dialogue, the way it's written is to make it so we get exposition on who these characters, or who at least Clark is, right? Which I could imagine maybe you would see that as like, oh, this is like very stilted or artificial or anything. Is that kind of what you're talking about, or not really?
No, I didn't think that way. There's like a line where he goes like, "I am an architect."
Oh, the
And I was
greatest
like,
line of
"Ugh,
all time. My
ugh."
goodness. I love it. I have
I do
notes on
remember you
that.
talking about that line in your video, but
Yep.
specifically that one, I was like, so he's mad that he doesn't get to be in. Oh, whoa, but it's like, ugh, maybe that is like a thing. That's like not showing and telling a leadery or whatever that's saying it.
True.
Maybe that's what I don't know what it was particularly, Leary, but I was like, this is a bit stilted. And then I couldn't tell if we were doing that on purpose, but then it felt kind of like we weren't.
Mm-hmm.
So I was back and forth a little bit.
Interesting. Okay.
hmm do I have a particular line about the acting? No, I think I just said no. I don't have anything about that, so I just made that up, Leary. So I can't expound on that with my previous self.
Yeah.
The
I think about just on acting, like I would say, I think my opinion is pretty similar to what I said in my review, which is that I think this is a movie where without Clark, like if Clark was not a very good actor, I think this movie would not be as good, like anywhere near as good, or it would be much more of a different, like I think it does contribute to the vibe. I don't know, in my mind, he's just so like, he's so good. That's really the only word I can use. Where it's like there's so much like variety in his performance too. Where it's like initially you have him as this like kind of, I don't know, relatively normal, subdued kind of guy in the therapy session, and then he snaps at the I am a fucking architect, like when he yells at her about that, and it's like, man, this guy like has like something beyond what his surface here. And then he like kind of becomes a bit crazy, and I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. He's got like different sides to him, and I don't know. I really like the performance. The Mary lady, I don't know. She doesn't have too much interesting. Like I think it's a fine performance. I don't have any issues with it at all, really. Like I love her accent. It's a fantastic accent. It adds character to her, you know. But I don't know. She doesn't really. There's no standout moment where I'm like, oh, I really like that. Like I like the architect moments in Clark, for instance. Yeah. So good acting.
True. When he was crazy a little later, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if I like that whole twist as a whole, so I don't know which parts of that I would be judging. But I also don't know that I didn't like it necessarily. Maybe I'm still a bit torn, Alita. You should have given me a few more days to think about it.
That's how it is. That happens to me all the time. You know, I say, man, I didn't like this movie, but I had a few days, and now I like it. So thank God. Even happens with Naruto
Love and pop.
sometimes, Yeah, true.
True. Let's talk about the horror meta narrative because I actually don't think
Okay.
it's that big of a discussion. This is where I'm going to cheat because I don't think I found like anything in Obsession very scary either. So am I broken, Elitery? Is that what's going on?
That is very interesting because to me, Backrooms.
Well, actually, no.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I know in your review you talked about how the big guy was scary in this movie. I actually don't want you to comment on the Obsession stuff. We'll save that for later. That's just a thing we're putting to the side right now.
Well, I can comment on horror in general as well as this movie, which is that I don't think this movie is scary. Like, I mean, it's definitely a horror where it's like there are, I don't know, certain elements that come across as like, oh, they're meant to be scary or whatever. Especially the big pirate clock at the end. I would say there are like moments there where I'm like, oh, this is like, well, he's right there, and oh my god, I'm gonna get jump scared right now, stuff like that. But it's like
that's true.
It's not particularly like, I don't know, especially the second time through when you know the moments that are gonna try and scare you. Like, it's not a particularly scary movie. If you compare it, for instance, to something like Barbarian, in my mind, which is probably one of the scarier movies I've seen. I guess spoilers for Barbarian if for some reason, you care about that. But the premise of Barbarian is that it's like someone stays in a particular Airbnb, and while they're asleep, some like noises happen, there's some stuff happening, you don't quite know what's happening. And they go to a basement, and it's like kind of slowly figuring out like what's going on here, but at the same time, it's like very creepy the whole time and very scary. I feel like the Backrooms to me doesn't have a similar vibe to that. It's more like, I don't know, it's more suspenseful than it is kind of like, oh, I'm like really scared right now. Whereas I would say Barbarian and horror movies like that are more like terrifying, or not terrifying, more like after I finish the movie, I'll be scared to like be in my house or whatever. Because I'm like, oh, what if there's like a lady who's gonna come and take a photo of me when I'm asleep or whatever. Even though they didn't really do that in Barbarian. What the lady she came up at some point and did something. Okay, it was very scary, but whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Backroom's not very scary, but we might. The thing is, I don't know, like. We should find you a movie that I'd be convinced that you would find scary, because none of these are like.
Well, I have some opinions. I have some conclusions, in fact. So it's interesting because there's a few different types of scary. Jump scares are incredibly scary, Elitery. So that's true. You don't see it coming, and then it jumps out at you. That there's nothing spookier than that. Dark is very scary, Elitery.
Yes.
Which is interesting because I didn't really find the Barbarian movie scary, but there's also a difference between scary and creepy. Like there's the moment in this movie where there's like the little kid looking thing, or he's like a midget or something, and he's in the chair in the dark, and Clark's like hello, and then he like turns the thing on when you first meet him in like the back of a room or something. And like it didn't really work on me in this movie, but I could see things like, because that's like creepy, right? There's like scary and then there's like creepy, like the Shining with the two girls or something. Everybody says that's so creepy. I haven't seen the movie. Or what about context?
What about I don't know if you would have noticed this, but in this movie when they're in the laundry area and there's like a cardboard head sticking out of the laundry pile, did you notice that or find that like creepy or anything?
Oh yeah, but that like jump scared me for a bit, and then I was like, oh, that's just a cardboard guy.
Okay, interesting.
But there is creepy things like that, because this is, never mind, this is an Obsession thing, but at one point in Obsession, she's like in the corner of the room, and I didn't notice, but that wasn't too scary either. But I could see something like that being scary if executed slightly differently. But then there's the whole other group of horror movies that is like slasher movies, and I think I would find that scary, just because I'm like squeamish, not when it comes to blood, but like bones and stuff like that, like that's like bones cracking. Like remember, you probably don't, but in season 2 of the House of the Dragon, there's a scene where the Maester puts Aegon's like leg back together and it like cracks the bone in, and I'm like, ew. But then that's like a separate thing, because that's also like gross stuff, and there's some gross stuff in Obsession that really is affecting me, and I really don't like gross stuff.
Yes. Have you seen
a
zombie movie before?
Well, yeah, but like World War Z or something like that, or The Walking Dead season 1 or something. This is actually a good point, Elitery, because The Last of Us is scary sometimes, but it's because it's dark. And also you're controlling it, which is a completely different thing. Like the adrenaline you get from like those dark areas in The Last of Us, like when Abby's fighting that Rat King, that's like crazy scary a little bit, but it's not, it's just the anticipation. And because I remember being moments like that with a kid where as a kid, where I'd like play this game with my brother where we would like have fake knives and you'd like try and stab each other, but the other person would go and hide first. And we would always hide in the same spot, or it was like a corner. And it's like, he's creeping up on me, or am I creeping up on him? And it's like the anticipation of at some point here, very soon, and I'm counting down the seconds right now, they're going to jump out. Yeah. It's like, that's scary. But all this other stuff isn't too scary. But there's also the stupidity of me, and this happens with the Barbarian movie and with this pirate guy at the end of this one, where I'm like, I could beat the fuck out of this thing.
Oh my god.
Which is delusional. But like something like that used to really scare me as a kid was the concept of Chucky from Child's Play, because it was a little doll and it would come to life at any second. It could creep up on you. Or Golem from Lord of the Rings was super scary because he was like a little creepy guy and he'd creep up on you silently. So the creeping up on you or being in bed and scared and stuff, that stuff works. And also like I feel like I couldn't watch a Saw movie. I feel like there's too much like I don't like gore. So but even then that's not like scary really. It's just like gross. Well, it's not gross. It's like a different thing. It's like unease or something. But that is true with all of them that we've watched. Actually, the Barbarian was a little bloody in parts.
Sure.
But I feel like it kind of, I don't know, maybe it doesn't freak me out, the blood stuff. But in like those Saw movies, it's like contraptions slowly cutting their fingers off or something from the clips I've seen, Illyria. So that's scary.
Yes.
But there's also the aspect and this is true for general stories, but obviously it's more true for horror stories, is you like put yourself in their position. And like if it feels hopeless, then that's like, it's not even scary then. It's just like, oh, fuck, what do you do? It's like kind of, maybe that's terrifying or something. But even then, I bring up the eclipse moment of you're following Griffith down the thing and you're fucked. No matter what you do right now, you cannot run away quick enough. And you're like, and that's like, but that's not scary. That's just like, man, that would be fucked up. So I don't know. There's a converging of emotions here, and I'm not sure where I would go. But it is interesting. So when you brought up the idea of like which movie could we watch to scare me, and I'm like, I don't know. It probably would be some generic like scary house movie where like Annabelle jumps out at you or something.
That's interesting. The scariest movie I've ever seen is Hell House LLC, which could be interesting. But
I feel like I've heard about that before, but
I did review it on Digest one time. I have a question. I'm curious. Do you ever, like, I guess in neither of these movies, I'm guessing you probably didn't experience this, but have you ever experienced in the past something that I assume is very common and what I experience when I watch scary movies, which is that you watch the movie and even like say while you're watching it, or especially afterward, you are like kind of in a different mindset where you are like scared, like irrationally so. Like for instance, I like movies where there is someone in the corner of a room, like in the ceiling or whatever, and then when you like leave your room after watching a movie, you're like, oh my goodness, you're like looking at all the ceilings, you're like, oh, obviously there's not going to be anyone there, but like you're in a different mindset or whatever.
It's definitely happened to me before. But not with these movies. Well, I only watched these two today and yesterday, Illyria, so maybe give it some time. But I really don't think there's much scary in this. Like the Barbarian one would probably be the most, like the scary thing. But I remember going to sleep very scared of Golem a lot as a kid.
What about Voldemort?
And even Chucky. No, not Voldemort. He's got a wand. He doesn't creep up on you. He's gonna like you're gonna see him before he kills you. That's fine. Now snakes were very scary to me as a kid. They sneak up on you, but spiders weren't. Sorry. Well, no, like you're thinking about Nagini killing Snape, Illyria. Let's get serious. Not the big snake. Yeah, that's silly, Illyria. Don't be ridiculous.
Yes.
But even like I remember, this is like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, so I'm adult here. But I remember I'd watch the Five Nights at Freddy's videos and be scared that the Five Nights at Freddy guys could jump out at you at any moment. But that's different, Illyria, because they're robots and you can't punch them to win. Yeah. So I think that's a factor there.
Okay, this is all useful information. We'll use this one day.
But yes, I don't know. It's interesting because something that does creep me out is like the things I've heard about like Hereditary and like Midsummer. Those seem kind of, but it's like creepy, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe if we watch those movies one day, I don't know. But also there's the idea of like I'm not really interested in horror movies really at all. Like I'm kind of interested in Hereditary and those movies because people really like those movies. But like I didn't really want to watch either of these movies, and I didn't think I even truly understood that Backrooms was supposed to be a horror movie. Like there's fascinating parts about like the Backrooms concept, but it's not really the scary part, I think.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I don't really have a great urge to like watch more horror movies because there's some people that just like to watch horror movies, and like being scared is like part of it. And I guess I'm not really looking to be scared, Alita. That sounds scary.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like a weird like contradiction where I was so excited to watch Obsession because I love horror movies in my mind. But when I sat down to watch it, I'm like, oh, what if I get scared? Like, I don't want to get scared right now. But I don't know. At the same time, I like it. And I know that I'm going to like it after I watch it. So I'm like, oh, I may as well watch it, you know? I don't know. It's a weird contradiction.
I did feel that way when watching the Barbarian movie the first time. Because then I was like unsure if I'd ever actually seen a horror movie. Because I was like, do I really? Like, maybe I shouldn't watch this or something. But I didn't really have that for these two movies. But I don't know. Maybe I was better prepared. or the concepts just generally seemed less scary. Because because in that Barbarian movie, like there's a door in the basement and it's creepy and dark. Like that's a little scary, I guess. But is it just creepy, Leary? We'll never know these things.
Yep. You gotta watch Barbarian
That's
when
my
you're
horror
in an
diatribe.
Airbnb. That'd be wonderful. It'd be so realistic.
True. One with a basement, Leary. We don't have
Yes.
basements over here.
That is true.
But true.
All
But that
right.
does become less scary when you realize it was just some dude that did it, you know?
True. Sometimes.
But then the Backrooms should be really scary, but I don't know if it is, Leary.
Yep.
We can talk about that in a second. But true, that's horror movie nonsense.
Yes. Now, I guess, do you want to just talk about the Backrooms themselves, like what you think about it?
Yes.
Yeah, as a concept.
Good pivot, Leary.
Yeah, so go ahead.
It's cool. I like it. It's like visually pleasing to me, but it's not creepy, I don't think. Like there's one scene because it starts to get a little bit. Well, actually, at some points they start putting like bathroom flooring down, and I said, "You're ruining the concept here. What are we doing?"
What? My goodness.
It's got to be office and carpets and stuff like that, Leary. Get serious. But like the little doors and stuff, and like the sliding ramps. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like a game show or something. So it's kind of like, oh, I want to see if I can run up that thingy or whatever. So it's like pleasing to me. So I like it. It is interesting. I feel like I would watch. Oh, go ahead.
No, do you have like a certain part of the movie that you like in terms of the Backrooms? Like you said, you don't like the tiled areas. Like, do you like the?
Well, I think everything else is good.
Okay. Like, for instance, I know in the discussion surrounding this movie, people love the Christmas scene where there's like the Christmas tree in the middle, and I like it because it's like a nuclear bomb went off and the people are like disintegrated in the ground and their hands are like kind of blinding their eyes or whatever. Like,
true, being stuck in the ground, yeah, it was cool.
Yep.
But the Christmas tree was like the dark one, and that's where that little guy was, right?
Yes, indeed, yeah.
But that was dark and scary, Leary, so that's like different. I didn't like that, but it wasn't scary. But like, oh, I had a point. Oh, because even at the end when she's like running up and there's like just this staircase upwards, and it kind of looks like a platformer game or something when there's little things on the side, or it kind of reminds you of Monsters Inc. as it goes down kind of infinitely. That was kind of cool. I like that area too.
Yep.
Oh, this is the big one. There's like an area where there's a room full of couches that she runs over and she hurts her leg in, and I'm like, that's cool. We like couches. Wouldn't it be fun to like jump and flip onto all those couches and stuff? That's what I was thinking.
True.
But this is well, this is kind of pivoting away from this discussion if you have something else to say about
I have more to say just about the Backrooms. I think it's something you haven't mentioned, which is what I like about this a lot, which is that everything is indoors. Like, it's a very scary thing. Like, even the mock, like, town that it creates, like, the outdoor town is, like, an indoor town. Like, you look up and the sky is, like, fake or whatever. And there's like there's like there's two interesting things. One is that we have the cool elevator shot that I like, where it's like going down, starting from like a base room.
Cool.
Yeah, and you go down and see it become more and more back rooms. But the interesting thing is that like the first layer of the back rooms of that room still has light outside. So it's like creating like an artificial kind of light source outside to make it look like it's outside, even though it is inside. And it's like, well, that's like kind of interesting. And it also like ties in with the final scene where she's like in that room and it's like, is she still in there? Did they take her out? Like, is this blue sky that looks like the fakest sky you've ever seen behind her? Is that like a real sky? Or are they like still in the back rooms? And I don't know. It's like the idea of like everything being inside. And like the fact that like you're inside a house and you open it and everything would tell you that you're about to like leave into like the outdoor world or whatever. And it's just like more like indoor area. And it's like, oh, it's creepy. But it also reminds me of like being at like a IKEA or something, like a store kind of thing where there's a bunch of like fake indoor settings and stuff. And
because he has a furniture store, and even that is like hitting on because furniture stores are like cool when you go in there and you're like, well, look at all these bedrooms in this one big room, and it's like fascinating. And that I think it's like the same part of your brain that thinks the back rooms is cool. So it's like a good connection to make, I think.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say.
But wait, also you mentioned the infinite void thing of like, there's the thing where she's like, she walks out of this room and there's like a staircase going up and there's like basically a giant pit in the middle. That was like probably the scariest bit to me in terms of like backrooms, like danger or whatever. Cause I'm like, man, like if you fall down there and you fall at the wrong angle, you just like fall there forever. If it like just goes on infinitely, like until you starve or something, you just be like, I don't know, it's just so terrifying. Like she has to be so careful there.
Well, Alita, I forgot to mention at the beginning the scariest thing in all of existence, which is heights. So there I was just like, oh, you'll fall and hit the ground, Alita, because obviously there's a ground down there and that's scary. But you were thinking more void.
Exactly. It just goes on forever and you just fall without ever hitting the ground. And you'll be stuck because like when you're falling, you can't like change your direction. Oh my goodness. Anyway.
There's two different things to say. First of all, there's also the second aspect that it was like maybe the coolest thing in this whole movie is that this Backrooms is some sort of like physiological crazy thing that like absorbs the psychological state of the people that go in it and creates like rooms. Like that's all really cool to me.
Hmm.
It's not too much explained. It's kind of the reveal at the end because we see like the outskirts of his the department, or is it a department store, the furniture
Hmm.
store, and then we see her where she grew up, and it's like, oh, it's like it like merges with the person's psyche or something. So it's some sort of like psychological phenomena or something like that these crazy guys are trying to study illiterati. So that
Hmm.
was all interesting and cool, I thought.
Yeah.
That sounds like some shit you would like.
Well, I was gonna say that sounds like something you wouldn't like, so it's funny you do like it. But
Well, it was cool.
yeah, I do like it.
Punk.
It is very interesting. One of the coolest shots is like when she's being escorted by those people, and you see the pirate like kind of tied up, and they're doing an MRI scan on him. I'm like, oh my
True.
goodness, this is crazy. So yeah, I do like that
Because they
stuff.
used to be an MRI company, illiterati.
Yeah, exactly. And there also is like an
Mm.
interesting implication there I didn't see the first time through, which is that he like rips out the flesh of the people in the room and he like eats it, and they have no insides. But this pirate guy, like when she hit him, he started bleeding, and then like they have an MRI scan of him, he has a brain. So it's like this
Mm.
thing is like more alive than those things were, in a
True.
weird, interesting way.
See, that was like the most affecting part of the movie was when he ripped the stomach open because that was gross, illiterati.
Oh my goodness, true, that is true.
And I don't like gross things.
But you know, it didn't look so gross because I was like, I would eat this if I was like really hungry. Like it's actually not that bad.
No, it was
Like,
very gross.
oh my goodness, it's like that dog food in
The fact that
Pluribus
it
we talked
kind of
about.
looked edible was like even more gross.
It just looked like rice or something. Like I could just trick myself and be like, it's just rice. I can eat this, whatever.
It looked like
Uh,
sponge cake or something.
no, even better. My goodness. Yes. So yeah, it is the concept of like, yeah, like copying of the outside world as well as copying like the psychology of characters, and like trying to create this like pirate,
It
or like
absorbed.
it like creates this giant pirate who is like a amalgamation of all the worst kind of elements of Clark. It's interesting. Yeah.
Hmm. Also, it's like it needs the power from his building, which is
Yeah.
interesting, and that's like a little added detail. Like, what's up with that? Because at the beginning I was like, oh, I don't know why I thought this, because obviously it was going to be some fantastical explanation, but I was like, how did this guy build this? Why did he do this? Because I'm thinking it's going to be revealed to be a guy or something that built
Mhm.
this. Which kind of makes it a different movie, but I actually have a dot point about that, so we can talk about that later. But it is like interesting what your like initially your assumptions are, because he needs the power, and that feels like more realistic or something.
Yeah, true, maybe, but no, definitely not.
Hmm.
Um,
So I have a last point on the backroom stuff, but it's a bit of a different point, Illyri.
that's fine. Go ahead.
Well, this is something that I want to talk about with both these movies, but I have a feeling you probably don't care about much at all. And the fact that both these movies are incredibly popular, and sort of the question as to why are they particularly so popular. And
Mhm.
I think the answer for probably both, and this is the thing I always say, Illyri, so this is just an old Kylie antique talking point, but that the conceit is strong and easy to understand. You see, Illyri, Attack on Titan was the most popular anime of all time because it's got a strong conceit, Illyri. Walls, Titans, fighting them, crazy.
Mhm.
Where here it's like liminal spaces and investigating it, and what would happen if you saw that, and maybe they're creepy. So I feel like it's like a strong, easily marketable concept. And also this was already a thing on YouTube for a few years or something, as I understand the literary. These are the merging of factors that
Hmm.
made it popular.
That's
Thoughts?
interesting. Well, yeah, I would say that this is kind of downstream from the true thing, which is that they are both incredibly, well, I guess they're kind of related, which is that they are both incredibly viral concepts on social media. Like you have, obviously the Backrooms was, like you said, a big thing on the internet, probably bigger than I guess you are aware of. It's a massive thing on like TikTok and memes and just like your open comment sections, like years before this movie
Yes.
came out, and there'll be people talking about like, oh, this guy's in the Backrooms or whatever. This is a very, very, very popular thing that people, almost everyone I would say who was like on the like short form kind of media was aware of. So that itself is like, oh my god, they're making a Backrooms movie, and it like looks pretty good. It doesn't look like cheesy or anything. It's like, oh, people could be interested in watching this. I would guess that's probably why this blew up so much. And then for Obsession, it's probably a similar thing where it's like, initially, it's probably a very unknown movie. No one really knows about it. But then, like, it's a very, like you said, I guess the conceit is very easy to convey to someone. But also at the same time, it's like an easy topic to kind of discuss on, like, social media and stuff like that. Where it's like, there's probably, I don't know, just a bunch of viral stuff about Obsession. Like, even me, who hadn't seen the movie and didn't want to get spoiled, like, even I know that people were talking about this actress or whatever. It's like a big thing. I think it's like really...
True. We're not talking
yeah.
about Obsession yet, Illyri, but the answer is girl. So we can talk about that later, though.
Yes.
But true. I know vague things about the backroom thing because I know you watched the Exit 8 trailer or something on your most recent stream,
Yes.
or the second to most recent stream, and I'm like, that was the original Backrooms thing, right, or something. And I think that was the case. I'm not sure. I wrote that down. Exit 8
Well,
YouTuber, and then I wrote down the 20-year-old thing earlier.
well,
You got to be mad about
I
that.
do know some things about the Backrooms. Like it was initially like a post on 4chan. It was like an image, like some random image that is in this movie. You can actually
Where all
have
the best things come from.
apparently. But yeah, it's like an image that is like a still frame in this movie, which is really cool. But then from there, it like obviously became a meme in its own right. And then the director of this movie made a YouTube series about it. And then from there, obviously, it just took off as like a big thing. And there's like a video game about this and stuff like that. I don't know how it relates to this Exit 8 thing or whatever. I've never really heard of that besides the trailer I watched.
That was a game first, but now it's going to be a movie.
Yeah, like maybe that predates all of this. I have no idea. But yeah, it started off as a meme, I guess, or like an image on 4chan, I guess. But
oh, that's like another interesting thing to go back to the horror thing is like I wonder if I would be creeped out if I was like if I was playing that game Elitery, because I brought up the Last of Us example and how that's heightened by playing it. So I'm probably not going to do it Elitery, so we'll never get an answer. But that was the thought I had.
I feel like almost certainly in my experience at least, games are way scarier than movies. Yeah, especially
true,
VR games.
maybe.
VR games are like the scariest thing you can do in your whole life.
No, that's I'm not doing that Elitery. Leave me alone.
True. Well, do you know just in terms of the behind the scenes of this, do you know anything about the director of this?
He was 20 years old
Yes,
and he
of
was
course.
a YouTuber, and that makes me very jealous.
Yeah, but do you know anything particular? Well, you're not gonna like this, but I'll just say it, which is that he has made.
I've seen his face.
Well, he has made historical footage for Attack on Titan. Like, have you ever seen like a live action kind of scary like Marley like doing the attack that Eren does on Marley or whatever? He made those videos. Which I don't know if you've ever seen.
Well,
those,
I never seen no videos
Yeah, exactly.
like this Elitery.
True. You should check him out afterwards. Okay, he made those, and look at him now. He's a movie director. How cool.
So his next movie is going to be Attack on Titan live action.
Well, he is clearly a big fan of Attack on Titan, so who knows? But
yeah, he didn't like the ending though. Upsetting.
Yeah, I have no idea. It is also interesting though, because this guy is like very accessible. Like I've already when I was looking at Reddit threads for stuff after like before this discussion, he like would comment on Reddit threads, and I wouldn't expect it. I just like someone would have like this either theory about the movie or like complaining about some production element or whatever, and he'd be like, "This is dumb. Like that's not true." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this is crazy. I can't believe this." It's weird having like such an accessible director, like some I don't know, like yeah, I guess the 20-year-old director. It is like the meme, but yeah.
Now that's good if he's telling off people, but I don't want him using Reddit Elitery. That's lame.
True. Well, you'd like his responses because they're usually like one word or like very very short. Like doesn't really say much.
He should be meaner. But this is also becoming a thing. I noticed this in the political world. It's always like if you get a younger candidate, there's immediately like he's got weird things on his Reddit account. Yeah. And it's like every single one of them every time. So it is that point where we are getting to this point in history where like it's easy to follow up on these electronic footprints.
Yep.
But
true.
you know, what a fascinating world we live in, Elitery. Don't worry, I'm digging up your old Reddit comments now.
Yep. Well.
Oh, true. We talked about the concept thing. So true.
Yes.
Now, Elitery, there's many other places we could go, I guess. You got an idea, or should I bring one up?
Well, I guess now is probably the time to talk about just characters or like characters and themes or whatever. Like the to me the less interesting stuff about this movie. But I don't know. There's essentially 2 characters in this. Okay, there's technically I think 4 because we have those other 2 that show up. But
a couple.
Oh, and we got like the one guy at the end.
They're missing.
True, they are missing.
True.
1990 they went missing.
Who we do see throughout the movie watching stuff on TV.
Yes, that is true. So yeah, what do you think about characters in general? I don't know. Anything about this?
I mean, they're fine. I feel like I liked when Clark was like, before he was mentally freaking out, when he was just freaking out or mad at things. That was kind of funny, I guess. And then with the girl, there was a lot of like flashbacks to her childhood and stuff like that, and that wasn't too interesting to me.
Yep.
But was it because she just had an accent Elitery? And the girl was being annoying, and it felt like a horror movie thing where she was being really dumb and really annoying.
Smart. My goodness.
But I was like, maybe that just comes from the territory. But the guy was also kind of dumb and kind of annoying. So, well, that was a different thing. Actually, we'll talk about concept later, so we can talk about dumb and annoying things as its own topic that I have written down. But true, the characters were, they were around.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I probably generally agree. I like Clark obviously the most, and all the rest are kind of like okay. But it is like a thing that this movie is very clearly, it is like I don't know what you call it, a thematic or like character movie. Like that is what this is in essence. Like any other like writing stuff in this movie is focused on that. Because like the Backrooms is it is meant to be some, well, I don't know, meant to be or whatever, but I read this as like a thing about like
A
not
tool to
moving
explore
on. Well, it's about like not, because the whole premise of the, or like what's going on is that we have that initial scene with the Backrooms found footage, and it's like super cool, and I love that. But then we have like the scene with this therapist, and she's obviously telling Clark, like they're having a conversation about like Clark's problems or whatever, and how he's like he blames everyone else for his issues or whatever, but it's like it's not really pointed out at that point. But then we get a scene of like her house being torn down, and then we get like we find out that she's actually selling these like whatever, I don't know what ebooks, there's probably no internet back then, but like whatever, like digital like books.
True,
of, like,
it's set in the 1990s, Alita.
yeah, exactly. But she's essentially a person who is who has her trauma of her own about with her mother and everything, locking her inside, and she's like become a not a psychologist, become a therapist or whatever, maybe a psychologist,
like a self-help
yeah, like a self-help kind of psychologist or something, to kind of get people through this. But obviously she's still dealing with this, so she can't really escape it, because throughout this whole movie we find out that like she's obviously still thinking about her mother. She sees this like happy family, and she's like looking at them instead of looking at the person in front of her. So then the Backrooms becomes like, through these two characters who are very like psychology focused, it becomes a like metaphor of like not being able to move on, or like being stuck somewhere, or like obviously trauma or something like that. Where she is like, on one hand it's like clearly she thinks that she hopes that she's moved on from her mother, but at the same time she clearly hasn't, when she's like focusing on these people around her who are happy, and she goes in there and she's kind of intrigued by it initially. And then there's obviously Clark, who is like kind of embracing this place because he has no interest in moving on. He just like wants to stay the way he is, and it like enables him. I don't know, it's like some element of like some theme going on here. It's not the most interesting thing in the world, but it clearly is what the movie is going for, I think. If you care anything about the characters, I guess. So yeah, did this cross your mind at all?
I agree.
Or not really.
Well, yeah, she was trapped, and then you get trapped in the Backrooms later. He put that together.
True.
And then Clark didn't want to move on. And that was vaguely interesting. But
Yep.
it was kind of tinged as a bad thing, which I thought was, well, that's about how you would expect it to go.
Yep.
And then, true, she beat the guy up with like the brick of concrete at the end, and I said, this concrete thing is a little silly.
But then it broke. It wasn't enough. That was funny. But
wasn't it?
no, it wasn't. It like he got her away, I guess, but it didn't like kill him or anything. It like broke before he died.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was going to be a thing where it's like
Don't worry,
she like
they
smashed
took him
his
to the
face
doctors
off.
afterwards.
That is very true. They gave him an MRI scan to look after him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wait, there's a few more things I just realized I should say about characters going through my notes. One of them was something I realized on the second time through, which is that the woman who is like the clone woman or whatever, the Backrooms woman with the red hair that he scalps in the Backrooms, that's his wife.
Oh, that was
his ex-wife or whatever. Like you see a photo of her, and it's like, I can't believe it. Well, they look very similar at least. It might not be literally his wife, but it is a stand-in for his wife.
Well,
but you go ahead, yeah.
Well, yeah, because the red hair and the wig and stuff was like that. But yeah,
well,
her
there's
face
also
is all fucked up, Leary. So maybe it's been in there, or maybe he trapped her in there. Whoa.
Well, I guess. Well, no, maybe actually, because he does visit her house at some point. But yeah, regardless.
Yeah.
The thing is that as soon as she's kind of like standing in the corner or whatever, and she's kind of fine with everything, even being scalped or whatever. But as soon as the pirate walks in, she like freaks out and like runs to the corner. And it's like an interesting thing of like, are they like mimicking the relationship that they had in like the real world, where it's like she is like so afraid of him. Maybe he's like abusive and stuff. And it's like a subtle hint of that, I think, which is really interesting.
Well, because the guy whose belly we rip open looks a lot like the light guy, right?
Oh, actually, that's possible, I guess. I don't know, though. Maybe if we go back and check it, it's going to look nothing like him, but I agree with that just right now.
Well, I thought it was initially. I didn't put the girl together, though. But also there was a little guy.
Yeah, I don't know who that
maybe that's their should have been son or something. My goodness.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they have a son. We have no idea.
And also the girl was in the fridge, her head.
Yeah, I wonder why. I don't know what was going on there.
True, and there was like glass or something. She could see him, but he couldn't see her. There was something there.
Yeah, that was interesting. The Backrooms, they continue to be interesting. Is there anything else? Let me see about character stuff. Oh, well, this is just me, like, just glazing how amazing this. I am a fucking architect. That scene is just so good, Kyle, because there are two scenes of it. The first time we get it, he's like, it shocks him kind of, where he's coping in response to when he says it. Like, he's being accused of not being an architect, and he's like, I am. Like, he's like trying to defend himself kind of, whereas like, I actually am, and is very surprised or whatever. But the second time we hear it, it's like kind of fed up with hearing it, and is like annoyed by it, and is like, I am an architect or whatever. I thought it was interesting, good acting, where it's like the same line delivered in different ways, and it implies certain different things, and where his headspace is in certain moments. So that's it.
If you say so, Elitari. If you say so.
Yep. Now what?
Oh, you're done with your characters? That's it,
I'm done.
Elitari? That's all you
That's the
got for your
boring part of
favorite
the
movie of
movie.
all time?
I don't care about the characters. That's all I wanted to say. Clark is great.
True. I have another comment. I had another comment that I should have brought up earlier. Well, it's kind of tangentially related. It's not entirely related. So it's not that big of a deal that I didn't bring it up before, Leary. Stop accusing me of things. But this is also the case, I think, with Barbarian. And it was also the case probably with Obsession a little bit. But there's like this disconnect, I think, with me with every movie starts off trying to be normal. And then I feel like the horror stuff clashes with it in my head, where it's like, normal stuff is like, it's like a disconnect, where it's like, or a tonal pivot that's always like a little hump for me to get over. But I also think this is exacerbated by the fact that I always like the stuff before the horror stuff more than the other stuff. Because I remember that Barbarian movie, and they were flirting at the beginning of that movie, and I thought that was really cool and interesting. And this is probably just so I should stay in my lane, literally. I'll watch the rom-coms, and you watch the horror movies. But this continues to be a thing with me in most horror movies, where it's like, I wish it wasn't a horror movie. Maybe I'd like this movie more. But true. But that was the case here, where it's like he's like in bed and he's got things to work through.
Well, yeah, it was
like, oh, maybe.
It was kind of interesting where he's like kind of staying at the furniture store,
Yes.
and he's like trying to figure out like what the electricity is being caused by. He's just like, I'm just gonna sleep here, like whatever, we'll figure it out, okay? Yeah, it is interesting. That would be an interesting movie of just this guy like kind of divorced from his wife or whatever, trying to figure out why this electricity in his store is like being sucked away or whatever. That'd be interesting.
And the reveal was it was some teenagers out back.
Yeah,
My
true.
goodness, and he's got to deal with them, and it makes him realize he needs a child too.
That's right. Wow.
But true. That's my little personal thing. The next bigger point I have, Aliari, I feel like I asked you this question recently, which is crazy that this has come up twice. But you have not seen Maze Runner, right?
No. That's the one with Harrison Ford or something? No, I haven't seen it.
No. Maze Runner is like a Hunger Games like ripoff, where it's like a teeny like survival dystopian thingy. Well, the whole conceit of that is that like these kids like wake up, or they've always lived in like this center section, which is like a little jungle section, and like they're surrounded by this giant maze, and like you never go in the maze because it kills you and it's got traps. But then the whole plot of the movie is they got to get out of the maze, and the maze is kind of like the Backrooms, where it's like you got to like plan, and like here you got to dodge this, and then you go this way, and they're like making like the plans for it, and it's kind of like this one. So it kind of reminded me of the same concept. So I thought about that a little bit. Maze Runner was kind of interesting. I only ever watched the first one. It did seem like kind of silly and dumb, but it was like it had a cool concept. But also they got out of the maze at the end of the first one, and then I think the next movies were about them exploring the outside world. Kind of like how the last two Hunger Games movies, there's no Hunger Games in them. We're actually dealing with the totalitarian regime. But you also haven't even seen the Hunger Games.
No, I've seen part of that. I've seen quite a few of that.
True. I like the Hunger Games. Hunger Games is cool. A Maze Runner, yet to be seen. That first movie was okay. It's also like a mystery box of like, why are we here? Why did they set this up? Which brings me to another thing is like, I feel like I was more disappointed with this at the beginning, where like we didn't get too much answers or concrete answers, I guess. But now that I think about it, you kind of did. It's just like this. It's like this phenomena that happens or something. But I feel like at the beginning of the movie, when I was trying to think, why would somebody build this? And also you're kind of thinking about the concept of like how you would map it. If this wasn't a horror movie and this was just like a fun puzzle, how you would map it out and how you would determine which way to go and like why these doors would be designed this way. And you're trying to think of like a method, but really there kind of isn't a method. It's just kind of like this psychological thing or whatever. But like when I was thinking, that was like the coolest part of the movie for me. So maybe I would have liked it if it had gone more in that direction or something. So there was some unsatisfaction with the concept, or not even the concept, because the concept is interesting, but like the mystery at the beginning or something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, no, I understand. It's a thing that people complain about when it comes to like mystery box shows and stuff as well sometimes, where it's like, oh, there's like an interesting mystery at the beginning, but even if the answer is like very good or whatever, it's maybe not the interesting answer that you were hoping for. Yeah.
Well, because the other two examples that come to mind are Attack on Titan and Game of Thrones. But it's not even that, because obviously Attack on Titan has like this grand, great reveal that like recontextualizes everything. But I think back to like my memories of sitting there in like 2014 and like the imagination I had and like where like these different concepts and the million different ideas I thought of like what could be in the basement, what this could and what the outer world of Attack on Titan looked like. And that gives you like nostalgia and like comfort or something. It's like, man, it's like this trite thing people say where it's like, oh, it's almost better if you don't find it out because you can just imagine. But obviously that would be completely unsatisfying in its own right, and the grass is always greener on the other side, Alita. But there is this little like, I kind of liked when I was thinking that a guy made this, and why would he make this, and how could we how could we win the Backrooms by getting through it and doing all these tests right or whatever. And that was like a kind of a fun headspace to be in before we went in a different direction. And it is kind of the same here, where the different direction is really cool, and I would say the same thing for Attack on Titan. But even Attack on Titan, you're like, man, maybe they could have done something more interesting or something. But that's that's also my midlife crisis with my hating the Attack on Titan ending now, literally. That we've explored in many different avenues, and also have not explored at all. Game of Thrones is similar to that, where it's like, man, I had so many mysteries, and it was just all White Walkers. This is fucking lame. But that's also something we've talked about too much. Already, so.
I would be very curious to see what you would think about something like Dark. Like that'd be an interesting show to kind of, because that has like, I don't know, it's an interesting story.
Alita, this is the reveal right now. The next thing I was gonna do to surprise you was gonna be Dark. Remember when I did Togepi's Original Sin?
Wait, was it really?
And I even watched the first episode like 6 months ago.
Oh my goodness!
But I forgot about it.
Now that would have been an interesting thing. My goodness! But you should definitely do that. We should do like something about it. My goodness.
I also had that thought like after I'd done it. I was like, Alita probably would rather if we did this as like a review series. I think rather than a surprise. But
it'd be good either way. But man, true.
It's not a surprise anymore. But it's funny that you brought that up, and I couldn't resist.
That's kind of crazy. I never
even
I
haven't. True, you're stupid. You don't even predict the Togepi's Original Sin one. On stream, I've purposely not brought up the like consumption Excel thing because Dark is grey over there because I did start it. You know how I do that?
Yep. Wow.
So I have the blue for completed, the grey for sorry. I've even gone that far, but it's literally been 6 months, I think, since I watched that first episode. So I'd have to rewatch it anyway.
You definitely
so I think
would.
I'd give it up.
That's a show where I had to make notes, like physical notes every episode. My goodness, I wrote it. This is before I started a YouTube channel. Okay,
stuff going on.
I had my great iPad in front of me, and I wrote down notes with a pencil. It was crazy. My goodness, that was the time.
It was also German, Alita. Could you believe it?
I can believe it. Yeah. Anyway,
now the other thing the other one is like Lost, right, Alita? That's a mystery book.
It is the go-to mystery box. True.
I watched a whole season and the whole first episode of the second season of that like 10 years ago. So, and also I remember my mom watching it a lot when I was a kid. And I remember the fat guy, Hurley or whatever.
That's right.
And I was like, man,
good show.
She loved that fat guy. She would always say, oh, is he going to be okay or something? I don't remember. This is like very early, like literally 2004, 3-year-old memories for me. True and true. There was other things to this Maze Runner point. Oh, and this is kind of a different aspect. Oh, actually, before we do that, I briefly watched, because I watched your video, and then I saw Super Eye Patch Wolf had a video titled "Everybody Hates the Backrooms Movie," so I clicked on it a little, and then I'm pretty sure I remembered that I had clicked on it before. But anyway, he's Super Eye Patch Wolf, a big idiot, Illyria, as we all know, but he brought up an interesting point that I think I kind of agreed with, where he was like, I liked those backroom movie like YouTube videos until they introduced a monster, and that like made it more lame. And I thought, true, horror is bad. And then this ties into my Maze Runner concept of I was like, maybe I would like it if this was something we were supposed to beat. And we were supposed to go on the whiteboard and say, this is the correct path out or something. Like my first machinations when I was thinking about it. Like the first 30 minutes of this movie. So.
I hate this talking point. Because this is a talking point that stems from like, man, guys, things are so scary when you don't know what they are, when they aren't explained, you know? But as soon as you get an explanation, it takes away the fear, you know? And I'm like, okay, true.
I already brought up that talking point.
No, but like, what I mean is like, it's just a more general thing about stories where people don't want answers to things because they think that like the mystery is more interesting. And as soon as you get an answer to like, where do stands come from in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? When you get like answers to like, I don't know, what is some Doctor Who related thing? I don't know. And people are like, man, it was better when we didn't know. And now that we've got an answer, I'm like so disappointed because I didn't want to know an answer. And it was better to be living in the mystery and to get an answer. I hate that.
It feels like a faux intellectual smart guy talking point too of like, actually, I like the uncorrect, not the cool aspect or whatever. But also it was two different points because he's making it in regards to, it was scarier before there was a lame monster in it. But I'm just saying it was cooler before it was a horror movie. So I'm not the same as him.
Yes.
But true Alita, preach. The other talking point here is, this is a different thing. And this is whenever I used to watch YouTube videos of people reviewing horror movies, this was always the thing they would talk about where it's like, they're not doing what I would do in this scenario. How could they be so stupid?
Sure.
And the only aspect I really had for this was like, he should have got more people to come with him, but he only knows these two guys. So, okay. One of them was a girl.
That is true. So. There's also an element of like, Like there was the whole when I was watching that, I was like, oh, does he actually want them to go in there? Or was this like part of his plan, like where he wanted to like feed them to this guy or something? Because it was a weird thing where it's like,
which is him, maybe.
which is him, yeah. Like he shows up there the first time he walks in, and he's kind of like, firstly he's like well, he goes in and he's like investigating. He's pretty normal. He's like a normal guy or whatever. Then he like the next time we see him, he's clearly been there a bunch. He's drawn a whole map. Like he's taken a bunch of stuff out of it.
He's taken more things out of that first room.
Yeah, like clearly he's lived there a long time. And also like the first time he went through, he's like he had a very close run-in with whatever was in there, right? Like the Captain Clark thing, I'm guessing. So it's not like he's unaware that there's something in there, right? Like he knows there's something there. He heard it. He mentions the footsteps or whatever. He was very scared of it the first time through. But then he goes with these two people, and he's not scared at all when he goes in with them, right? Like they're being noisy. He's being noisy. Like I don't know, it's a weird thing where it's like there is an element. They don't what? Sorry?
They also don't have like knives.
Yeah, true, exactly. Where it's like, yeah, clearly he's not very afraid that second time through. Where it's like, oh, is it hinting at like maybe he actually has already interacted with this? And obviously the third time we see him there, he's already well acquainted, and he's like even goes
gone crazy.
Yeah, bro. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know, it's interesting. But true, he only has those two people.
This is also something I complain about a lot. Did it in Steins Gate. I did it famously in Mushoku Tensei that one time, where he's like, he should be explaining more immediately. Because like he has well, it all depends on this. Because this was something I was waiting. They teased this out where it was like the first time he tries to go out, it's almost like the door is shut behind him, but he was just on the wrong spot. And like that's like a scary tension thing in a movie, right? You try and go back. Harry and Ron can't get through the thingy, Elita. Can you believe it?
They're gonna have to drive a car flying in the sky. It's terrible.
The point of me bringing this up was that like he has the smoking gun. He just has to like they just show them the door and they're gonna believe you. So he should have just said shut up and just put your hand through the door. And anyway, that was just a little like urgency thing that I always complain about. But true. But yeah, I think that might be all my notes because I have stilted riding, which is the I am an architect thing. I have the YouTuber background. Oh, I have the found footage aspect, which I just wrote down to remember, but I don't really have much to say about. I've never seen a found footage movie, Illyria. I've seen sections of found footage stuff before, so whatever. And then my last note is very funny, Illyria, because this is another recent Kyle Entertainment talking point, is that the main girl sounds like Zosha, and it gave me Pluribus PTSD, which is happening a lot, Illyria, which just proves that the great Pluribus is living in my mind rent-free, and you should be bragging about it.
That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear this.
Because this did come up in Obsession too, when it's like obviously like it's not a real person kind of, and it's giving you like Pluribus vibes, and there's something like unnerving and it's not just unnerving in its own right. It is unnerving because it's recalling the terrible plight of what's the main girl's name? Carol in the Great Pluribus Illyria. I said, man. Oh.
Yep. I can say that Pluribus didn't cross my mind, unfortunately, in either of these movies.
I can just not stop thinking about it, Illyria. But it happened in something else recently, which is crazy. So.
Hey, it's you know what?
True.
Pluribus is a unique show, okay? It's got a certain thing to it. But okay, I have a question then, kind of related to Pluribus, but not really. Would you have preferred this to be a TV show, or do you like it as a movie?
Oh, this was another thing. True, Alita. I was thinking like this is like a cool concept we could explore further. So I thought like, oh, they could do a sequel at some point. But it would be like because I feel like there are anime like this, like. I don't know. Fuck you, Illyria. Made in Abyss is like this, as far as I understand. Is like
I don't
there's
want
this.
Hey, whoa.
Oh,
I might watch that. Oh, my goodness, we don't want spoilers for this.
Yeah, I know, Illyria. You crybaby bitch. How about you learn the conceit or something before you watch it? But whatever, we'll stop there. But there's other things where it's like, well, now I can't explain the conceit. It's Maze Runner, right? You're trying to figure out like this thing, and it's like, this could be like 100 chapters of like exploring each nook and cranny or something. But here it's just one movie. So yes, Illyria, maybe that could have been more interesting.
Well, that's wonderful, because I seeded this, because the thing I know about this is that initially I think he wanted this to be a TV show, but he could only get the offer to like do a movie or whatever, so he made a movie. And now if he does a sequel thing to this, he keeps saying, I want to make a TV show. So there we go. I think that's the next thing that will come from this will probably be a TV show.
Make it a brand new thing. Or just it's in the it's in the medieval ages, Illyria, you know, how do we do that different? The great Backrooms manifest. So maybe it's an anthology series all throughout different parts of history. A caveman, and what does that look like? It's just a bunch of caves.
Or the deeper down you go, it just becomes an older replication of something in history or something. Oh my goodness. Then we go down and we see Jesus, and it's like his crucifixion has been replicated. Oh my god, what does this imply? Yeah. True.
I just racked my brain. I was like, I was thinking about Jesus recently. Which of these movies was it from? And it was from Mushoku Tensei, Illyria, so you'll have to stay tuned for my Jesus talking points.
Wonderful.
But that's all I had to say about the Backrooms, Illyria.
Yeah, I think that is all there is to say for now.
I think overall it's a low 4 stars.
That's wonderful to hear. It could have been much
Mhm.
worse.
Now, I have something to say about low 4 stars in 2026 movies after well, actually, technically, Obsession isn't a 2026 movie, but we'll talk about it when we get to Obsession.
Okay. Well, are we going to talk about Obsession now?
Oh my god, we're going to talk about Obsession right now, Leadery. What a great transition.
Yep. Is it?
I think
I don't
you
know what
should
you're
go
gonna say.
first again,
Okay.
Leadery. That'll be fun.
Obsession. I will say, like Kyle has said, I thought that everyone loved this movie. I went into it and I'm like, oh, I've only ever heard universal praise. Even the great Moist Critical, he said this is a great movie. And I thought,
True,
wow.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that after I watched the movie this afternoon.
Yes.
Oh, I will say an interesting thing. The Backrooms does have a ridiculously low score on what's this fucking thing called? Letterbox. It's got a 3.3. Sure. I thought it had a 3.1, so that's not that low. But Obsession does have a 4.1. So
yeah,
you know,
I mean, I believe right. the Backrooms thing. It's like a dumb internet concept. Like I'm sure people are probably gonna be like, oh, whatever. It's like a cringe.
True.
But yeah. Obsession, yeah, I went into it thinking, man, I'm gonna love this. This is fantastic. Like everyone really likes this, and the performances, they keep glazing this woman. She's such a great actor. My goodness, and now she's playing Rogue in X-Men or whatever.
She is true.
Yeah, but I watched it, and initially I was like, oh, I don't know, this acting isn't particularly good. I don't know, I'm getting a little annoyed at certain bits. But after I got over that hump, I was like, oh, I love this. This is great. So by the end of this, when I finished it, I was like, okay. This is a great movie. It's a very, very good movie. So that'll be my takeaway, I guess. We'll talk about I have a lot of problems I want to complain about, but that's for later, I guess.
It is interesting because I've never really seen it be about her like performance. It's always like it's just like, oh, she's like crazy. Wow.
I suppose, yeah. I've heard people be like, she needs to get an Oscar for her performance or whatever, and like when she did this thing, it was like amazing. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's crazy.
You know who deserves an Oscar? That girl who played Honora, Leadery, not this lady. But true, Leadery, this is another low 4.5 star for me. Oh, I didn't let you predict a Leadery. This had a lot of weirder issues, I think. I was probably more engaged with this one than the Backrooms. It's more of a movie that I would like. It's got to do with a relationship, Leadery. But I also didn't expect to like this one as much, knowing as much as I did know about the concept.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have too big of a super overall thing. I've got a lot of little things to talk about.
Yeah.
But true.
I think
I don't really love this movie either. I would say they're both kind of even.
That's very surprising because they are so different. But I guess that makes sense. I would say one thing that I think I universally like in this, and I assume you're probably not going to care at all, is I think the cinematography in this was fantastic. Like immediately, just like throughout the whole thing, it's like, I don't even know how to explain this, and I don't even know if cinematography is the right word for it, but it's like the combination of the lighting and the particular lens that is like used for the camera, where the background is like very blurry. Yeah, it's like very dark at points, and like the way that they show her in silhouettes and stuff at certain moments, and like that, like for instance, the scene you mentioned before, where she's like hiding in the corner of the bedroom, like that, it's just lit so well, and like the set is like laid out so well, and the camera they're using is like so perfect, and I think to me this is like the highlight of the movie. But I don't have a way to like talk about this, I guess, but yeah, essentially just looked really good. But more so than like
there's the one shot of her
it is
on like the doorstep.
Yes.
Where she's in dark too, and that's another one.
Yeah, it is very cool. Cinematography, we love it. That's the best thing about this movie.
To retreat a Leary, the thing I was teasing at the end of the last one. I was gonna say that like this is a low 4 out of 5, so is Backrooms. And then a drama is probably a low 4 out of 5 too. Like Virgin, I'm like a 3.5. And then there was a funny thing where I was gonna say Supergirl is also a low 4.5 out of 5. Oh my god! But Supergirl is obviously the best movie of 2026 so far. Yeah,
that's crazy.
And then I looked just now and I saw Odyssey there, and I said, hard. Which one? But then I saw Spider-Man and I said Spider-Man's definitely the best movie of 2026 so far. So it would have been hilarious if I came here to these two reasonably, critically acclaimed movie here and talked about the great Supergirl, the most lifeless movie of all time, being better than the Military.
Yeah.
But I am doing that, but it's just not the best movie because Spider-Man was cooler.
Yes, the superhero nonsense that you just love so much, apparently.
Superhero slop-elitery.
Superhero slop. That word. I would never use that word ever. God.
I don't use it either, Leadery, so you should thank me, but true.
All right, well, there you go.
Let's talk about the girl, Leadery. Let's do that, huh?
All right.
Or you're talking about cinematography or something.
All I wanted to say is I wanted to point it out, because how could I possibly talk about this for more than 1 minute? But yeah, nothing else.
True, Leadery. It was dark in some places, maybe a little bit creepy.
Yep.
a lot of the thing I've seen about this girl is how hot she is, Illyri, and how I just need an obsessed Latina girl like her in my life. That's like all the stuff I'd seen about this movie. And we were talking about
okay.
hold on, Lear. We were talking about like it having a good conceit, and I think the conceit is like, oh, you wished for the lady to be in love with you, and now she is, and it's actually terrifying or something. A little twist on that. Now I know there's a lot of like social, like, well, there's not really. Well, this is like the thing to talk about. Lear. Is there a lot of social commentary in this movie, or is it like overblown? It has erupted into a lot of social discourse, as I understand. So there's that aspect too of like who the super evil one is in this movie. We're probably not going to disagree on this.
It's probably Satan, the guy on the phone.
True, Illyri. We're not to the phone yet. That's later. So there's that aspect. So there's like, oh, look at this pretty girl, and she's like crazy, and don't you love crazy girls? And there's also the conceit of the love potion thing, which I think is both probably why, but also there is an interesting thing, and I did watch the Red Letter Media little review for this, where Mike left halfway through Illyri, but it had nothing to do with the movie, which was very funny, and he didn't watch it for the video. It was one of their wrap up videos or something. There were people being annoying in his theater Illyri. He had to leave.
Terrible.
Why the fuck did I bring that up? I know that. Because they brought up a stat in that because they were like, the Obsession's like second week was bigger than its first week, and they were making the point about how this movie really spread through like word of mouth or something. Because usually movies will have a big opening weekend and then it'll slowly tamper off or whatever. So it is like a word of mouth thing, I think, with this movie to a general degree. And by word of mouth, we mean memes and tweets, and for you, TikTok. So that's all interesting.
Yep.
Actually, seeing the movie, I don't think any of these aspects are too strong. So it is interesting to me that this movie is as popular as it is. Because it made like double what Backrooms made, and Backrooms already made. I think this one was at 600 million, and Backrooms was at 300 when I checked. But I could be wrong, Lear. That was like 2 hours ago.
It made more than Backrooms, but it's not that much more.
It
had a significantly smaller budget though, which makes sense. So it made more profit.
True, it was less than $1 million or something.
Yeah, some crazy thing like that. Yeah.
The main girl, and they got paid $50,000. I knew that or something. That's a thing that people say on Twitter.
Wow, I wonder for how many months of work, because that's
true. And now Marvel's gonna pay her double to be Rogue Leader. That's crazy.
I hope it would be more than that, but true. Yes. I don't
Thoughts about this and being obsessed with this sexy lady Illyri, and that being why people like the movie.
The thing I found funny is that because I've only been able to like read comments about this ever since I watched the movie, but I've been seeing obviously the big X-Men thing got announced, and everyone that I've seen on TikTok, well, these misogynistic people, they're complaining because she isn't hot enough or whatever. And I'm like, oh my goodness,
true,
it's terrible.
It's like Supergirl.
You can never win. My goodness. But yeah, about this discourse stuff, and I don't know, it didn't, like, obviously I see in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, because I have consumed many things that have this, like, someone wishes for someone to be, like, to fall in love with them or whatever, and this is always the discourse in every comment section about anything. Like, obviously the most famous one for me is the great Blind Wave Torchwood episode 3 reaction or whatever, where there's, like, a lady and she, like, essentially it's a very similar concept of like making someone like fall in love with you, and oh my goodness, it's always,
if a lady does it, it's not bad.
No, it's rape. We are raping them. It's like the first word that comes out of the mouths of any commenter is like rape. This is a rape episode or whatever. And if you defend anything about this, you are a rapist or a rape defender.
Rape apologist.
Rape apologist, that's the word. So I can understand why this would be so like I don't know, disgusting.
Well, I think this is secondary. This is like once you are on Twitter, what people are arguing about. I don't think that's too big in like the why it's popular. I don't think people are going to have an opinion.
Yeah. But I could imagine like a lot of the conversation could be about like this element of it. Like who, like you said, like who is the bad guy here or whatever. Yeah, I can understand that. But yeah, I don't have much to say about it though, but yeah.
True. The other point for me is like the girl's pretty, obviously, but like the crazy part isn't like I've seen like crazy girls in movies where it is like really sexy. This is not one of them. So that's really weird that's like a massive thing, I think. And also I was shocked at how tiny this girl was, Illyri. She was like 4'11". It was crazy.
I didn't notice. She looked, there was a scene at the beginning where it was like her and her friends walking and she looked like short. And I was like, oh, she's like very short. So I guess, yeah, true. Good point.
Because this guy is kind of short too, it looked like. And this guy, because I think the other male friend was kind of tall. And I was like, whoa, this is like crazy. Because I've seen like obviously the scene in the restaurant where she makes the crazy face in public or whatever. That's like the main image you would post on Twitter or whatever. So I'd seen that. But yeah, those things like kind of shocked me. So
yep. Just
general discourse on that. It's kind of fascinating. It kind of just took off, I think. But everything else here is like really scattershot. I don't really have particular things, Leary. Anything you want to talk about right off the rip while I look
Well, I
through
mean,
this?
I would start off by talking about the horror elements because we talked about it in Backrooms. But I mean,
True.
to me, this is a much scarier movie. Like, I was scared watching this a little bit. Oh, not even a little bit. I was scared watching this. It was a scary movie. It's not one of the most scariest movies I've seen in my life, but it was very scary at certain points. And it gave me that feeling afterwards where I'm walking around my apartment. I'm like, oh my god, what if Nikki's in here? Even though obviously she's not going to be in here, you know.
Oh, it would be the greatest day of my life, O'Leary.
It may be.
No, it'd be gross. She might shit on the floor again, O'Leary.
Yeah,
that
is
was
also
disgusting.
true. Yeah.
So there's like three different things, I think, and none of them were scary to me. There's like because the phone call is maybe the thing that I'm anticipating you might think is like scary and stuff like that, and like when she's screaming and she like comes out of it and it's not working for a second, and that's like way more like interesting and intriguing to me than scary. Then there's like the other thing, which is the gross aspect, which is like, oh no, this is a nightmare. Like I don't want to deal with this shit, literally, illiterally. And she's like spewing and she's bleeding and she's not going to the hospital and it's gonna get infected. And then the brick is an even bigger gash and like that's all really gross. But then there's also the horror of like, this is like girlfriend horror, literally, or like kid horror, I guess, where it's like she's freaking out in public and you can't control her, and that's like also a nightmare. And that's like like scary and like oh no. So those are different, but more of that's just like nightmare scenario more than like scary to me. But like when she's creeping around, like it didn't feel like she was gonna like do him any harm throughout the movie. There's the scene towards the end when she has the knife. But I guess again, now this is interesting, Alita, because it's kind of the intersection. Because I say the big scary monsters aren't that scary because I think I can beat them up. But then the little things are really scary because they can sneak up on you. Whereas this girl should go in that sneaky category, Alira. She's a sneaky little girl, and she sleeps next to you, and she could just stab you or something. But I also wasn't concerned or scary about that. So I don't know. I wasn't scared.
I think to me the scariest element is definitely the fact that you live in the same house as this thing. Like I think you mentioned before, when she's standing in the corner of the room and you just wake up in the middle of the night, you find out she's been watching you the whole time, and you like hardly see her in the corner of the room or whatever, and then she steps out and she's kind of walking all weird and stuff. Like that's the scariest part to me, where it's like, oh, what if that happened to me? Like I wake up and I look in the corner of my room and someone's just there, you know, and I don't see them initially until they like point themselves out to me or whatever. I don't know. Like that's the scary stuff for me in this movie. Or like for instance, when they're like talking in the car and I'm like, oh my god, what if she's like in the background? I'm like trying to look in the background, like she's gonna show up at any moment, like she could be here anywhere. Like it's that kind of stuff to me.
Oh
like,
yeah, that was scary, but that was a jump scare because I knew she was gonna pop up at some point and I was anticipating it.
Interesting. Well, you as in like spoiled, or you as in like you were so smart that you were...
No. I was like, she's gonna. They're like, he's with the other girl, and obviously she's gonna she's gonna kill this bitch at some point. So it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I will say it was very obviously a doll when she was like smacking her head against the brick, and it was really bad.
Well, what if I told you it was actually a person that they used?
Now that would be crazy, but it still gave me that impression, so I would still think it was really bad.
It almost certainly was a doll, but true.
There was another shot. Yeah. Oh, one of the things where now this is something I noticed and was like, oh, that's kind of cheap, but I still liked it a little. Where it was like, I think when she got up and she did one of her freaky walks towards the end, but it was pretty clear they just played it in like reverse. But it was like the movement of it was still cool that I was like, oh, that was pretty
cool. I thought it was the other thing, right? Where she did it. And I'm like, oh, wow, that looked like she was like actually being compelled to walk backwards. I didn't feel like it was, because I thought when that happened, I was like, oh, like I did have the same moment you had where I'm like, oh, that would have been like really, like the simpler way to do it would be to just do it in reverse. But like nothing gave away that was what was happening. So I felt weird. Where I'm like,
it only gave it away afterwards, literally, when I was scrubbing through it for an image from my media checklist, and I scrubbed through it frame by frame, and I was like, oh, that's what they did. But it wasn't frame by frame, but I was doing a quick scrub through, and I was like, oh. And so I thought I noticed it. But again, I don't fucking know if that's true.
I don't know either. Who knows? But I liked it. It was a good moment for me where I'm like, oh, it's like scary.
But the doll was bad, Leary. It looked like it had no stomach and it was going at a weird angle.
Well, I have no opinion. It scared me, you know? So I'm happy.
And then the body was like naked tied to a chair later.
It's terrible, yeah. Was that
a doll she too? Tattooed her tattoos on her.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't tattooed, but she like drew it on her.
No, but like the scarier moment is the lead up to that where he's on his phone and like she's next to him and she could like wake up at any moment. That's a scarier thing to me. Where it's like, yeah, it's like someone in your house and you're all alone and there's like nothing you can do.
That's still like a jump scare.
Yeah. Well, not even necessarily. You could, well, I suppose, yeah, a little bit. But it is the thing where it's like you see her like the whole time when like, not the whole time, but you see her in certain shots of that scene where he's like on the phone, but you can't see her eyes. And it's like the scary element, like, is she staring at him right now? But at the same time, she might not be. And the fact you can't see it is like the scary thing. But yeah. I think like less so in terms of maybe it is a little bit of the horror, but I really did like. I think you just like brushed it off as like you didn't care that much about it, but the instability I really did like, where it's like it feels like she can snap at any moment or like kind of do the crazy like she gets mad or whatever at any moment, and like that one time she like shuts off the shower really quickly, and all that stuff is really cool. How unstable
Well, that
it
was
feels.
cool. Yeah, I like that
And then,
stuff.
but at the same time, it's also like the reverting to her old self at any moment. Like the first time they kiss and she like freaks out or whatever, and like that stuff is great. I don't know if it's like the
That
scary
stuff is
element
super
or
interesting because
yeah.
that's like, well, not just the concept. The concept is cool and interesting, kind of,
Mm,
but it's like you could never have a happy ending. Like if because at some
mm.
point, like let's say you like can start to control it or something, or like not manipulate it, but like you know how to like
You're smarter than it.
maneuver around it more so you can have somewhat of a normal life or something. At some point, at any point, kind of regularly, like
Yeah,
there's like gonna be this
true.
great massive guilt trip that's gonna pop out, and it's like, oh, this is like the make it or break it for this scenario. We can't be doing this.
True.
So that was, I don't know, that like it's not what was the word we were using? The nightmare scenario thingy.
Huh?
That's like part of that.
I don't even know
Well,
what
it's
you're talking
like
about.
because it's like the bad scenario is like when she's freaking out. Like that's
Oh,
the
okay.
nightmare scenario. So
Sure.
it's like, oh, it's like breaks you out of any sort of like solution you could possibly have to this scenario.
Yep. Now,
Which I guess is kind of like
go
a
ahead.
horror like thing to me, where it's like it has to be like you can't win is kind of part of the point. Though that hasn't been the point in most of the horror movies. So I think that was just an
Mm.
assumption I made at some point that all horror movies have like bad endings. But this one, it's pretty bad, but it's like kind of a happy note at the end. Like she's fucked. She's in this scenario. She has no idea, and if she ever tries to explain this to the cops, like it's not going to go well.
Mm.
But like she kind of wins in the end, and all the like the bad guy is dead. And what
Mm.
was the other one? The Backrooms. The lady got out, I guess, maybe.
I don't know. I don't think she. I think the implication of that is that she's probably never going to be let go again because it's like that room of the people watching her
Hmm.
or whatever. But maybe.
True. But true, it's a little like she didn't get eaten by the monster and torn apart, which is what I
True.
assumed
True.
happens at the end of all horror movies. But it probably doesn't happen in nearly any of them. But also in Barbarian, the girl got away, I'm pretty sure, and Weapons, all the kids went home or something, but they're all fucked up, I think. So it's interesting. That's just sort of something I had assumed that's probably not true. I don't
Mm.
know why I brought that up now, Leader, but I think that's the end of the point.
I think it might actually be rarer in my experience that it has like a bad ending. I think usually they have like a good ending where things work out.
Because I'm
Yeah.
trying to think, like, even those slasher movies, like Halloween or whatever, isn't the concept of the last girl that, like, the one girl at the end does survive and, like, Jason, like,
I don't know.
gets trapped or something to reemerge in the next movie? So I think even in those horror movies, like in Saw, somebody wins, right? And gets
I
out,
have
maybe?
no idea. I've never
Um,
seen a Saw movie in my life.
but there's also like torture porn stuff where it's like I've only ever had these movies like described to me in YouTube videos, but like a girl is tied up for the whole movie, and at the end, everybody kills, or the good guy that didn't do anything wrong ends up becoming a monster at the end or something. I don't know.
Mm.
Devil Man.
Yes. All right.
Now that's horrifying.
Yep.
But true, Elitery, where were we at? What were we talking
We
about?
were talking about horror, but I think we've said all we can about the horror. It was horrifying, but also
Mhm.
not.
Well, you thought it was horrifying
I
because you're a
did.
big pussy.
Yeah.
Now, how much of that is what I'm talking about here, Elitery? Is I'm just pretending to be a man right now and flexing?
Well, the problem is, like, she lives in your house.
I wouldn't have admitted that
Like-
Five Nights at Freddy's was scary if I was trying to be a man, Elitery. Good point.
Maybe. Oh, I thought you meant like you thought you could beat her up or whatever, but I don't know. You definitely.
Oh,
I
no,
don't know.
that's a good point too.
She just waits till you sleep or whatever, and then she'll kill you.
Oh, I will say actually something you said towards the beginning of this was like her freaking out at stuff. That was some of the most interesting tension. Like when they actually were at that party, I was like, oh, what's going to happen here? Like that was a really interesting scenario. And
Man, I love that when she
kind of
stands up
erupted.
and is frowning. I just like it. It's like an image or whatever. It's
True,
cool.
the facial expressions are funny, or unnerving even a little bit of literary, but true.
Yep.
Oh, maybe we should talk about the ending a little bit more because I did think that was good too. That was like a very windy ending where it was like a bunch of different directions and where it went. And I definitely didn't, because there's like a bunch of expected endings. I think like he's going into the room to kill himself, and I was like, oh, and then obviously they do the fake out of like he's too much of a pussy to kill himself a bunch of times, and then he ends up taking the pills instead. And then it's like, oh, did the pills not work? And then you see that she's cracked the thing, and it's like, oh, she made a wish, and that's why he came out to her and started kissing her. Maybe is because she wished that he would still love her or something, or made the same wish to him. and that's why he came out. But he'd already taken the oxys or whatever, so he was dying. But then also it didn't work. But then also because he died, had the original wish, and then she's back to Nikki again.
Yes.
But everybody around him's dead, and also the friend got to make a wish at some point. He wished for $1 billion or whatever.
It was so cool! Oh my goodness, when the money just came down,
falling from the cry.
Yep.
And then actually, so that's the ending. But then there's the two most interesting aspects is the phone conversation where it's like this is like some sort of an institution where they know that this is real, and then also the clerk at the very end seems to like know everything. And like it seems to be in on it or something, and those were two very interesting scenes, I thought. But anything you have to say about the ending or those things, Alira?
I have a few things. Firstly, just on that direct thing about the institution, it is great. I like it. We don't get like it would have been nice to get a bit more, I think, but we do get the phone call. We get like the scene at the end, well, not the end, but that guy there who seems to know stuff. I do not obviously, I guess, but I like it. I like the idea that this is literally Satan on the phone. And that guy at the end, he is an embodiment of Satan or something. I like it.
I didn't think about Satan one time, Alita. I just thought...
I do. That's what I think of every time there's a scary devil-related thing. I'm like, this is literally... It's not just like a demon or it's literally the devil of devils. This is Satan himself speaking right now. And I'm like,
Satan is really cool, Alita. Perhaps the coolest of all cools. Again, Devil Man.
Or like that one episode of Doctor Who where he's literally in it. It's like the coolest thing ever, but true.
True, and like that YouTube video I watched, that was that guy's favorite depiction of the devils, and everyone was epic and cool, and I liked it.
Yep. Okay.
But true.
But okay, the other thing I want to say about the ending is just my experience of watching that kind of roller coaster at the end, where I had a strange experience where he's going in, he's trying to kill himself, and he's struggling or whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. Then he gets the pills, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna have these pills. This makes sense. It's a nice, easy way. This is much like safer. You're probably almost certainly gonna die this way, whereas with a gun, you might not. And maybe you'd suffer for the rest of your life or whatever. He takes them all.
True, I was thinking that too. Like, there must be something we both watch where somebody shot themselves in the face, and the gag was that they lived for the next 70 years or something.
That'd be the worst thing ever.
Euthanasia.
But he took the pills and he's like about to throw them up, and then and then I thought, oh my goodness, they all kicked in, and now he's like super high or something, like he's really, really high. And then he walks outside.
Yes.
And then I get the reveal that, oh my goodness, she made a wish. And in my mind, I'm like, this is the worst reality possible, where it's like, she must have wished that they're going to live together forever. So he can't kill himself. And it was like the terrible timing where if he did it like 2 minutes earlier, he would have been able to die. But now he's immortally now he's going to be suffering for all time because he took all these pills. So he's going to be either high or he's going to be like, I don't know, some mental destruction is going to happen to him from all these pills, but he can't die. And then we got the reveal that it's like, I guess the assumption in my mind is that she probably just wished that like the same thing he wished for, where it's like he's gonna love him equally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what a great relief. You know, at least he's gonna be happy now. So I was happy at this moment, and I'm like, oh, thank God, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Also, it's interesting, like, so did the devil make that wish, and that's why Nikki is like free at the end, because it wasn't her wish, obviously, and it's like it's connected to the actual like spiritual essence that did it.
Well, no, I would assume it's like she made the wish, but then he died anyway because of the drugs, right?
So if he had... Oh, no, well, that doesn't count because he was never under a wish. Because I was going to say, if he had shot her, then would his wish have, like, dissipated? But, like, she's dead, so I guess so. So there's no counter evidence there.
Yeah, true. We'll never know.
Mm-hmm. True.
But what happens
until
with
Obsession 2 comes out?
What if you get the $1 billion and then you, like... Oh, no, I guess you'd kill yourself. Would it disappear if you kill yourself? Like, what happens with the $1 billion, I wonder?
Is it literally you can't take things out of the physical world now that Satan has spawned them in, Alita? What's his essence?
Like there are there's stories I've seen where it's like they engage more in this like wish element, but this isn't really part of this at all. So much so that it is frustrating that they really don't explore this until way later on in the movie. Where like a lot of this time I'm like, man, you should try and do something about like I have this whole thing we can talk about where I'm like, there are so many things that happen in this movie, and I'm curious at what point you would start trying to take it back because he takes a long time to take it back. And even the first time he tries to take it back, he's like, he wants to alter the wish on there. He doesn't want to delete it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, by this point.
Well, yeah, because he likes that she likes it.
I don't know. No, but at this point, it's like she's like I have a whole list of it. Like, by this point, she's already fed him his cat. I'm like, at this point, I don't know. She's kind of crazy. I don't know. Do we really want to?
Yeah, she just doesn't. He just wants no more cat feeding. He still wants the girl.
Yeah, but I think at this point, when you've already told her not to, and she's still doing it, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I was definitely like not agreeing with him, but I think that's like
I don't
absolutely
know. Okay, we're going through this. Okay, at the beginning, she freaks out and
hold on, O'Leary, hold on.
Go ahead.
I've never needed to pee more in my life, so I got.
All right, we'll be back.
Don't worry, O'Leary, we're back.
All right, wonderful. So we're gonna go through this list. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna tell me at what point you would have done something. Okay, this is the important question. Number one, when you're kissing her on the first night, and then she suddenly freaks out and runs away, and it's like kind of her old self or whatever for a second. You're like, what's
That's
happening?
not a good sign, Elitery.
Would you turn around at that point, or you'd be like, okay, maybe that's just a one-time thing. Okay, maybe we can deal with this.
Well, it depends, because it's also up to, like, it depends on when you realize your wish is true. Because as you realize that, I would probably be like, well, this is probably not okay.
All right, how about
get in
this?
trouble if I
we'll put it in this way, where it's like, if you're this guy and you like this girl and you don't think anything about the moral implication whatsoever, you don't care if it's rape or whatever, you don't care whatsoever. You're just more concerned about like your own kind of well-being here. That, like, at what point would you kind of?
Well,
be concerned
yeah,
here?
with your well-being, it probably doesn't matter, but like. I don't know how you're gonna have a fun time if
true.
like she's gonna come out at any point. Like, that's scary. That's more scary than a demon.
But I feel
that's
like
only because of the moral implications.
But at this point,
I would feel really bad.
You kind of cope with it and be like, oh, it's because it's like just happened or whatever. Maybe it'll go away with time. That's what I would probably assume at this point. Where it's like, we'll see. We'll wait and see. Okay, if this happens again.
See, I always think the worst, Elitery, so I would not have that mindset.
That is true. But okay, after this, then you go outside in your living room or whatever, and there's the rotting dead cat in the kitchen, and she's like, she's made a memorial for it. Would you be like, oh, okay, I don't know about this.
I don't know. That could be like a misunderstanding of like, like if you tell her that's not an okay thing, and then you probably would be thinking, what other things that she doesn't know are inherently not okay that she's going to do? I got to worry about this bitch. But true, Elitery. Maybe you can continue from this point. Maybe.
Yeah, I kind of agree where it's like, okay, yeah, you set the boundaries, and at this point, it's like, okay, whatever. But then, like, you go to the restaurant, you find out she's been lying about her dad having cancer, and she freaks out when you mention to her. Well, it's the freaking out afterwards. I think it's a bit concerning, where she's like, no, she's standing up, she's yelling at you or whatever. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Elitery, this is literally the worst thing she does in the movie for me. I hate being in public and like embarrassing people watching you and stuff like that. So personally, for me, she's got to die.
Wonderful, and you'd save yourself the embarrassment at the party later as well. So that's wonderful.
No, but that's more intimate between like friends. Like if there were 20 more people at that party, it would have been bad. But because it was more intimate, it was just kind of like, I definitely would have used that moment to say, "See, guys, she's fucking crazy. Somebody's got to save me."
Yeah, true. That is actually a good point. That when you're in public, you have a bunch of people restrain her, and then you're good. You're safe. Okay?
There was also the part where it was like she killed the other girl, where I was like, "Oh, thank God! You can call the police now and like have her arrested, and everything will be fine."
Yeah, it is true. I had that feeling too.
But you didn't really think.
But
about that.
It's also the thing where it's like, I don't know. What if she like frames it on you now, but also at the same time she frames it on you where it's a way where it's like, I don't know what could happen there. It's a bit it's not like as clear as day. Where it's
true.
Like
you are taking a risk.
Yeah, it is risky. Where it's like, what if we like?
But I would take that risk.
That is
like,
true.
They'll figure out that it was her.
Yeah.
Like even later, because I was factoring in the later part where she shoots the guy. I'm like, they can figure out with forensics that the bullet was fired by a small girl and not me. So she's going to jail, and I'm gonna win the trial. But
the problem is, like, all the evidence is like you're going to that car. Like they've got the thing of you going there. They're gonna find this dead body of this girl, and like I don't know.
I don't think you understand, Elitery. She's a little girl and she shot, and they can tell the trajectory.
Yeah, but like she could spin a story about the texts that are the official record here, and I have no idea. Who knows?
I would believe in the truth, Elitery. I would say the evidence is on the side of the truth.
True. And then they'd go to her like friend, the guy with the $1 billion, like, where'd you get this money from? And then he'll go to jail, and he's actually the root of everything. That'd be lovely.
True. It is kind of like the Backrooms thing of like you just have to walk through the door and everybody would understand that like fictional horror stuff is happening, and then like nothing can ever be like their justice system has to be thrown out entirely. So what the fuck are we gonna do now?
True.
So that's that I talked about that earlier. Horror clashing with the everyday or something.
Yep.
True, Elitery. There's a disconnect with me a little bit.
All right. I'm going to continue, okay? She watches him sleeping, okay? That's the worst bit. After that, I'd be done before this.
No, that was fine.
No, if I woke up and someone's watching me sleep from the dark corner of the room, I'd be like, that's it. I'm going back to Satan and I'm ending this.
You'd say, nice obsession reference. Lady, come back to bed.
That is true. That would be funny if it happened in real life, but not in a movie. And then she like cuts his hair, and apparently we get like the reveal that she's been recording him when he sleeps, because on the TV there's like a recording.
She's taking like photos.
No, it's like a literal video of him sleeping or whatever. But also like, yeah, the photos, which are very scary and creepy. And she cuts her hair, and then she duct tapes the door shut. I'm like, okay, at this point.
That was very funny.
It's like, I don't know about this, man. Like, maybe you should be doing something instead of just leaving here. But he goes to work, and then she cooks the cat and feeds it to him. I'm like, okay, and that's the point. Okay, that's the breaking point. where he's like, I need to alter this, okay? She just needs to love me as a friend.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, whatever. And then after this, it gets crazy. She like stands in the door, she's pissing herself. What? Can you explain that? What happened there? I understood the pissing herself thing, but like, why was she all like weirdly slimy?
Well, I think she
and
vomited.
Stuff? Why did she vomit?
I don't know, but she had stuff coming out of her mouth. Or maybe because she ate the cat, but like that only makes you vomit because you're, or maybe cat would make you vomit because you're not supposed to eat cat because it's got weird pathogens or something. What's a pathogen?
Well, I mean, it was a rotting cat at that point, so it probably was bad.
True. But yes, and she was peeing and pooping, and
yeah, it was gross.
It was gross.
I didn't like it. That was the worst part of the movie. Yeah,
absolutely, literally.
But
also her wounds later were kind of gross too.
Yeah, but not as gross as this slimy stuff. We don't like slimy, gross stuff.
I guess this is a good point to do this stuff of like, it's interesting. Like, I'm assuming if you ask the director, he has the socially correct opinions, Alira, the bear's the bad guy and stuff like that. But it is interesting in sort of, I think this makes the movie more interesting, but it also makes it more like kind of both sidesy, where all of her behavior is kind of like girlfriend behavior or creepy girlfriend behavior just turned up to like 1,000. And I think it's interesting that this is part of it, where it's like never mind. The first example I went to was probably not good, but like there probably is no example where a girlfriend like literally watches you sleep and is like awesome. But I feel like in a spoof YouTube short about the overly obsessed girlfriend, it would be like the first joke is like she watches you sleep with her eyes open like this. You can see my eyes open right now, Lyra. It's like, oh, it's like kind of that turned up to a head, but like freaking out in public, like girls will like that's like a girlfriend trope. There's other ones. What else did she do, Alita? She's just like standing there. Oh, she's like knows when you're talking to other girls and stuff like that.
Well,
and like if you
suicide?
sit next, oh, maybe that's like a boy thing to do, Alita, not a girl thing. But there's like a bunch of little things where it's like, oh, interesting. I could see the guys who are watching this and being like, just like my ex, bro. And I can see where they're coming from a little bit, and I understand why that's like a pushback against the girls that are like, this is a great movie about how men will be rapists and you got to watch out for them and stuff like that. And like the pushback for that is like well, I guess their chief example would be the guys that interpret this movie as like, man, I feel bad for that guy, you know? Was it really that bad to love him? Remember when he says that in the movie later?
Oh god, it was so bad. Yeah.
There's like,
it's not bad like movie bad or whatever. Like this man is like, oh god, I hate this guy.
Is how all men are, Alita. You need to wake up.
True.
But true. I guess following on from that, Alita, the guy was in the wrong. Can you just say that for us so we can move past?
Well, it's a weird place where it's like the intention.
It is true. When is he in the wrong is interesting.
Yeah, it's like
because the wish isn't like wrong because you would never expect it to be like real. But like he should probably like after the first night, it's pretty evident, especially when she freaks out. They're like, oh.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
It's like
is it just evident to us because we know the conceit of the movie, or would you in that scenario always understand that to be evident, and then any further relationship they have would obviously be?
I think the issue is that it is interesting because the movie also plays with this at the beginning, at least in my mind, where it is ambiguous. Where initially he makes the wish, and it's like she like doesn't do anything too crazy. She's like a little like maybe she is on drugs or whatever. Like you could essentially for the first like quarter of this movie, you could explain away as though yes, she's on drugs. Her dad thing is actually true, and the best friend just didn't do a good job of like looking into it. Like maybe he actually does have cancer. And again, they give a good explanation of like this was her name Sarah. Like the Sarah girl is jealous of Nikki, and she's lying about him like being the friend zoning him. Like it's a whole thing where it's like you could explain it as though maybe this is like a big, like she is just normal. The wish didn't work or whatever. But then at some point, I think it is probably the duct tape kind of thing where it's like, there is literally no explaining this. Like no sane person who is like not being possessed by a devil is going to like duct tape this much or whatever. And then is going to feed you.
It was awesome that he could still open it too, by the way. Because I had that thought. I'm like, he can still open this door. Duct tape isn't like good at that stuff.
Yep.
And then they did open it. I thought that was great. Oh, I was thinking about. Oh, there is another interesting because there's other aspects. Because there's like, oh, like you can interpret her as this movie about your crazy ex-girlfriend or whatever. There's also the like, for it being like sympathetic to the guy, or in some sense, there are little things in there also where it's like, I feel like these are like, again, it's like turned up to 100, but like you have these thoughts sometimes as like a guy who you're younger and you have this big crush on this one girl that probably doesn't like you back. I feel like most guys have this in high school or whatever. But there's also like, there's a bunch of little more descriptive aspects that I liked about the movie where it's like, he realizes at some point, or the other girl, Sarah, explains to him at some point that his view of like their friend dynamic is completely wrong. Like he had no idea that his friend was sleeping with the girl he really liked. And I feel like this is like another thing you have when you're young where you're like, this like girl who I like and I have a crush on, and like, oh, maybe it's mutual, maybe it's not. There's no way she would be sleeping with somebody else right now. Like, this is like, I feel like a high school thing. And then it's like you find out like, oh, she was. And like at the time you're like, how could she do this? Like, what disgusting behavior, what a betrayal and stuff like that. Like, you have these little incel thoughts, which is kind of what he's elaborating to. And there's like a beat in the movie where it's like, I feel like you're supposed to like dislike the other guy because he's like been sleeping with the girl, and I feel it hits that emotional note and it like takes you back to that. So I feel like there is some interpretation there for that angle too. But also there's added aspect of that of like he is like encouraging his friend to like confess to this girl in like the first scene of the movie. So it is like this probably is shitty behavior from him in a sense. Well, he doesn't want her to do it that way or him to do it that way.
Well, which could be implied is like he's trying to push it away. He doesn't want him to confess. Yeah. I don't know.
Or it's just like he gets so much pussy, bro, he doesn't even care about this one girl, so he is fine with it or something like that.
Maybe. I think it
but
is.
But also, the other aspect is... Well, just before we do that, the other girl is interesting because the implication is pretty obviously that she likes the main guy, and like he's completely oblivious to that. And it seems like her and Nikki probably have talked about that, and that's probably why Nikki like is talking. Like, I'm pretty sure she had probably told Nikki that she has a crush on this guy, so it was probably like a red flag for her when she started like her friend betrayed her and started seeing this guy. It's like a betrayal on two fronts of like, obviously this guy likes Nikki, and Nikki was like not into this guy because I liked him and stuff like that, so something is off. But they never actually say that, but that was my implication in the back, my interpretation rather, in the background.
Wait, let me understand this. So you're saying, there's main guy and there's friend guy, okay? That's how we're going to explain this. Then there's Nikki and there's Sarah. For some reason, we know the women's
and the friend girl.
Yeah, well, Sarah is her name, right? I think. Friend girl. Right, we'll call her friend girl.
I don't know.
All right, we got girlfriend, friend girl, friend guy, and the main guy. Okay, so you're saying that friend girl thinks that girlfriend... This is too confusing. I can't do this.
Sarah is her name and Nikki is the name, Alita. Go ahead.
Okay. Sarah thinks that Nikki is dating main guy. Why? What was the theory here that you said?
Well, no, not that, because that's after what I was saying. What I was saying is that probably she has discussed with Nikki that she has a crush on main guy previously.
Okay,
like,
yes.
Before the movie starts. Therefore, when like Nikki starts dating the main guy and is like completely changed, that would probably be like an extra, like, something's not right here. Like, why would my friend like betray me like this type thing? In the same way, like later you find out that like, oh, has the guy's friend betrayed him by already sleeping with Nikki on and off for 2 years or whatever they say.
Yeah. Well, they have the scene when they're at work. It is the cat feeding scene where she's about to tell him about the friend sleeping with Nikki. Yeah. And it's like a thing where it's like she's clearly... What did she say? She says, for blowing up my shit. But who did she say it to? She's talking about...
Well, that's because the friend had told him something about how Nikki... Oh, it was the friend zone thing. About how the friend had told the main guy that Sarah had said that Nikki viewed him as a little brother or whatever. And then she had then Hansel and Gretel thingy that she was reading out about fucking her little brother or something.
I don't remember that.
Which was interesting because it seemed like a blend of Nikki's and the demon's emotions or whatever. So that was a cool scene. I like that scene.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah, true. Relationships, friendships. Yeah, interesting.
You don't understand your friend group, and then you can find out one piece of information, like recontextualizes the whole thing, and you get sad or something when you're a little 15-year-old incel.
That's right.
So true, you can go from multiple perspectives, Alita, but you're saying that the Twitter girlies are right, and we cite justice for Nikki.
No, I think it's like a weird... well, obviously, yeah, she's obviously the victim, this Nikki original persona, I guess. But it's like a weird thing where it's like, I can understand... Like, the worst part of the movie is the part at the beginning where where it's like, he is potentially taking advantage of this girl who is like just on drugs and like dealing with her dad's death or whatever. That's the worst bit. After that, it's like, this man is being like haunted by a demon. Like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy here.
It is true. I expected because for how it's discussed, I expected him to be like more crazy or something later. But it does, like, most of the movie is feeling not, I guess, bad for him in a sense of like he's now dealing with this erratic demon. But I think the closest it comes is like him not wanting to change the wish entirely, and that's like for what Twitter has said, like this, I expected him to have that sort of behavior the whole movie or something.
Yeah. Yeah, but true. Generally,
also, the way that...
yes, Nikki's a victim. This guy, he's not that good, but at the same time, I don't really care much about that because, man, he is suffering from being a demon-possessed boyfriend or whatever. It's terrible. My goodness.
Alita, he says justice for Bear or whatever his name is.
No, we don't like that guy.
I was going to say something. Genius, Illyri. Very smart, very intelligent. Oh, I guess my impression of the movie, because I had this movie pretty thoroughly spoiled. Like, I had heard about how she breaks out and wants him to kill him. Oh, she says, kill me over and over. I had heard that he had tried to, like, I had heard the piece of evidence, like, he didn't actually want to get rid of the wish. He just wanted to change it a bit. I had heard about all that stuff. I hadn't heard about any of like the gross stuff the demon did. I literally thought it was just going to be like this movie about this guy like raping this girl who doesn't want like who's clearly like it's make believe that she's in love with him or whatever. And it really wasn't that. It was more dealing with the the nightmare of this demon for most of the movie. So that was a little interesting.
Man, it is like it's just a terrible situation to be in, isn't it? Like, what do you do? Like, it is like it is true that the best situation he had was when it's like, oh, she might go to jail. But other than that, it's like there's just nothing you can do. Like, you can't explain this to anyone. You gotta
kill yourself?
She is obsessed with you. Like, it's not like you can convince her to, like, be normal. You're not gonna be able to convince anyone else. Like, you can't even, like, I don't even know. I don't know. Yeah, it is just, like, kill yourself or so. Or, like, get yourself locked up in jail. But even then, it's like...
Well, the real thing is, obviously, you kill her, but then I'm like, do I want to worry about the rest of my life or whether or not I've hid this body good enough? And it's like, oh, that's a terrible existence too. It's almost like just kill her or get in a car crash or something, but then how are you going to survive? Or like manslaughter her some way, so you just spend 15 years in jail. There's ideas.
Yep. The problem is that it's like, the wording of the wish is that she has literally loved you more than like anyone. So it's like, like the immediate go-to is like, if this was just a normal obsession, all you have to do is like move somewhere random where it's like unpredictable. She'll never find you. But in this case, if she is literally this obsessed with you, she will find a way. Like she'll definitely find you.
True, and that's even worse. Like instead of looking over your shoulder, the cops are going to get you, but this lady is going to show up.
No, but the thing is, if she is this obsessed, she might go and start working for the CIA or something. Like she's like so obsessed where it's like she might, and she's young, so she has like 20, 30 years of like professional development she could go to like get herself in a weird position of like trying to find you, where it's like inescapable. I don't know, it's just terrifying. Yeah.
You've got to hope for incidental death, Illyri.
That is true, yeah. You gotta hope for a death note.
True.
Anyway, can we talk about how great it is that at the beginning of this movie, Nikki she keeps saying ill. And I'm like, oh, what a great, like, immaturity / like a vocal tick kind of thing.
She did.
Which is like,
her
ill, don't say it like that.
At the beginning was interesting.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Great.
Because it is like she's like endearing, but there's like, I don't know, there's something interesting about like the fact that she like took the $20 to give to the homeless guy, even though she doesn't seem like too overly nice. Like that feels like a descriptive thing that like girls will always have weird things they are very like morally good at with. And it's always like weird and strange. And it's like, but I saw you do this other thing, and it's like contradictory or something. That's something I've noticed about women, Illyri.
Oh, wow.
So that was a descriptive thing, and I am the authority of women, Illyri. On women, in fact. So I did think that, and that really fomented the like, I wish this was a drama movie instead of a horror movie aspect of like, let's explore this lady's relationship. Also, he didn't tell her even after she said to tell him, Illyri. Can you believe it?
God, what an idiot! Oh my goodness, yeah, it's terrible. It is truly terrible. I
feel like I definitely haven't done that, but I feel like I've done that, Illyri. So I was like not judging him. But I have no idea what the context could have been for me relating to this scenario. Maybe it was just a different movie.
Yep. Some anime.
I don't know.
My goodness.
Not anime. I think anime's not realistic.
I think the initial characterization is more so that she comes across as like a close friend who's like kind of disinterested, but at the same time has literally zero romantic anything whatsoever. Doesn't even consider it. That's the way she comes across.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is cool.
I feel like
for instance, one thing to mention there is that like they have this phone call. Like the first interaction we get with her is a phone call where it's like he's at home after his cat died or whatever. Well, not first interaction, but no, it is the first interaction, right? He's home after his cat died and she calls him, and it's like a very intimate sounding phone call where it's like almost like she's going to confess to him, but obviously she's not going to.
Well, that's another of like the guy talking point thing, right? All right, she's like calling him for like, that's like a thing incels complain about, right? Or something like they'll call you because they want intimacy for something, but they don't want real intimacy or something. So that was another thing that like ticked the thing off in my brain. Also, absolutely insane behavior, Illyri. I'm not calling a girl that I'm platonic with, Illyri. Now this is because I don't have any friends and I would never call anyone ever. But I was just like, whoa, this is like not good. Why would you do this?
Wait, he just answered the call. Wait, what do you mean? Am I missing?
Well, no, obviously they FaceTime all the time, I think is the implication.
Okay. Sure.
So I was like, this is not good. I don't like FaceTiming at all. I've never voluntarily FaceTimed in my whole life, Illyri. This is not good. But that was very funny.
Just wait until you. Oh, I guess I was gonna say, wait until you move out, and then your parents will FaceTime you and be like, I don't want to do this.
Well,
right
I did
now.
move out for a little while, and I did avoid it a little. I settled for
Well
the
done.
phone calls.
Yep.
And them sometimes I didn't pick up, and people got very mad. So
Yep.
true. Oh, I had something else to say about this. But true, Elitery, we'll never know.
Yep. All right.
Oh, I remember. I was at my second note leader. I said good winding ending. And I had bashing face doll. We already talked about that. Oh, how old are they meant to be was interesting. Because this girl is like getting accepted to college, right? Which means that they're like 18. And I was like, they seem like they're 27.
That's what I was going to say. It could be just like they took a gap year or two or something.
It wasn't art school.
Older, yeah. And, oh, no, wait. They're also, they're at the bar. Like they're drinking in America, right? Or this is Canada or something.
I think it's American.
Yeah, they'd probably
it
have
was
to be
weird because I think I assumed the movie was in New York or something, but like they're in some weird suburban area for like most of it, so it's not. So it could be Canada, is what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
But true. So yes, I was confused about how old they was. Also, they all work at this little like music store. There's no way this music store is successful enough to have 7 employees.
True. Well, the thing we get it is her dad though, like Sarah's dad. So it could just be like they're not being actually properly employees or whatever. Yeah.
Or they became friends from work or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, they were doing trivia night a leader. I used to do that with my friends, and it was awesome, and I did take it seriously.
Good. I did that once with my friend or my roommates. It was great.
No, you hated it, Alita. You hate fun things.
True.
How old are they meant to be? True. I like the personal aspect, which just makes me want to watch. Oh, this is about how I liked. I wish it wasn't a horror movie.
Yep.
How copable is he? Social commentary about nice guys, consent, or crazy Latina GFs, and teases that they don't know what's good for them. True. Whatever. We talked about all this stuff. Phone call / guy at the end. We talked about that growth stuff. We talked about that a later. That's all my notes.
All right. So I have to complain, and I don't have too much to complain about it. Like I don't have any way to express it, but the acting wasn't the best in certain parts. Okay. I think it's only really 2 characters. I think the main guy at certain points was like, I don't know what it was. It just felt weird. It felt off slightly. Obviously in the first scene of the movie, it felt very off, but then you get the reveal that it's a fake out. Like he's practicing or whatever. Like, oh, okay. Thank God.
Yeah, true.
But it felt like at certain moment, like the weird thing is that it's like, maybe it's not even him. The main one I want to complain about is the best friend guy. I don't know if they're best friends, but the male friend. Where at certain points he'd like say things, and I'm like, this feels like he's delivering like a comedy line or something, like the way he's saying it. Where I would be like, I feel like the way he's pausing is like
did he literally say, "Did you fuck her, bro?" At one point,
yeah, stuff like that. Where I'm like, I don't know about this. Like
I never had this in this movie. Not once did the like acting even like tip me off of like, oh, this could be bad, but it did in the other movie.
Sure.
So I don't know. We're on opposite wavelengths here.
I will say the main Nikki was fantastic. Like it was good acting.
I thought I don't know. It was okay. Well, I didn't think it was anything too special.
I don't think like I don't know. There's a way to like make you. I don't know. I bought it completely. There wasn't a moment where I was out of it, and I think it's very easy to kind of be taken out.
Oh yeah, I bought it the whole time. I'd say that.
Yeah. True.
Oh, there was one moment when she was peeing where she was smiling, and a few times her like cheek quivered, and I was like, maybe you should have done that.
The true internal Nikki is coming out. Oh my goodness, it's terrible.
Good point, Alita. Good point.
All right.
Well, the peeing contraption was a second late, and she said, "What the fuck's going on?" No, probably not.
True, maybe. God, it's so gross. I hate gross things. My goodness. Okay, what else have I got? I have a few miscellaneous things, and I have like a bunch of things I'm like mixed or don't like. So I guess miscellaneous. There was like a moment where there was a. Go ahead.
Just on the acting, it is interesting. Because I'm trying to think about any of the movies I was talking about this year, if there was like an acting performance that truly like stood out to me. And when I think of like a great acting performance, I do, and I probably just because I said it at the beginning, but like the Honora girl was so good. And that's like such a great performance. And it's like, I don't know if in a movie, like, because Challenges was before that, at least. That doesn't count. But since then, the main girl in Ritual is definitely like an incredible performance to me. So I'm just like thinking about like who to compare it to. Like Emilia Alcock in Supergirl was kind of bad sometimes. So it's like that wouldn't be a thing. Tom Holland is fine as Spider-Man. Everybody in a Marvel movie is always going to be pretty great. But not that standout, I don't think. So I don't know. It's just a weird acting tangent. What's the best acting you've seen this year, Alita?
The wonderful Will from what was his name? From Watchmen. Will whatever Reeves. We love him.
Oh, I guess.
Yep.
Not really though. It's in like that Marvel category of like that was pretty great.
No, it
It's
was
not like
fantastic.
standout-ish.
Standout, one of my favorite actor performances of all time, the great Will Reeves. He could have done more. I'm like,
Well,
true, Will. That's a good point. He could have done more. But I'm like, I'm there.
that was a
I'm
funny
just nodding along
one-liner.
with him. It was great, and it was a wonderful execution of one-liner. But
It's pissing me off that both these movies ended up with a low 4-star elitery. I thought I was gonna have some fucking
just wait until you watch the reactions from Blind Wave or something. There you go.
true.
Yeah.
Actually, if you ask me which one I liked more, I don't think I could. Like, it's hard to split the difference. I will have to do this when I do my great rankings, of course, Illyri. I think probably immediately it was Obsession. But, like, I don't really.
Just think
I don't know.
about
They
all those
both
yellow
kind of have
rooms in
interesting
the Backrooms.
concepts, and that's like the strongest part of each. So I have no idea.
Well, you got
maybe
time,
I'll speak
okay?
again.
You got like 2 weeks
Yeah.
to decide. That's fine.
That's true.
Anyway, the cut to sudden sex was very unnerving. Do you remember that one where it's like she just like a dead expression on her face, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is terrible.
Yeah, and his butt was out a liter. I remember that part.
God, terrible.
Oh, her boobs looked really great in that first scene, Illyri. I will say that about the hotness factor.
I don't remember any nudity.
Not the first scene. The scene where she's like at his house for the first time and she like takes her shirt off.
Taking the shirt off.
Well, she's a little girl, Illyri, and
I don't have any opinion on that.
It looked like she had little boobs, but then it looked like she had big boobs, Illyri, and I said, "Wowzers!"
Wonderful. That's good to hear. I have one more miscellaneous note, and that's it. Which is, man, Sarah is crazy for calling him in the middle of the night to like open a letter, like text him or whatever. Like,
true.
Like going, like
but
telling this
like
guy to.
Oh,
I don't know. I get that, but it's like, man, I don't know. Like telling this guy to like leave his house and go to the car in the middle of the night. You know, the girlfriend is there. I don't know. And she's
I think
crazy
she was like maybe. I don't know how much of a parallel it's supposed to be of like, does she want to confess to him? Is that like the point? So it's like, oh, it's like a big deal to her. Just like, no,
it's true. Yeah, I don't know.
Also, why is she like this dweeby guy? Also, that girl is pretty hot, Alita.
I don't know. I didn't think much of her. Like, I don't remember what she looks like.
Alita's a asexual king. He doesn't think about
the difference
any
is, I was terrified watching this movie. You were just not. Okay, so you had other things to focus on. I was like, oh my goodness, when she's gonna pop up in the corner. I'm so scared. I don't know what I'm looking at right now. But true. But even this guy's even crazy.
I thought that girl was
pretty
before that car scene, Alita. But in that scene, I was scared. I was anticipating the scares.
Wonderful. That's good to hear it. Speaking about anticipating scares, we have my things that I mixed on. So one of them, this movie, in one regard, it's interesting because it uses music to signify changes in behavior. There are certain moments where it's like very ominous music, and then Nikki is behaving pretty much the same, but the music like does a sudden shift, and it's like, oh, we're like interpreting the words she's saying differently now because the music is not as ominous. So it's like meant to show that
it would
like
cut out sometimes.
And it would cut out at certain moments, yeah. And it's like, on one hand, it's like kind of cool. I like the idea of like using music to signify things instead of acting or something. But at the same time, it's like I think I probably would have preferred of me figuring out like what is meant to be scary and what isn't. I don't know, but then I don't know what a movie like that would look like without the music.
You just hate when music is overbearing and telegraphs what your emotions are supposed to be.
There is nothing better than overbearing music. Oh my goodness, it's so good. I love it. But I guess
it is true. Now, I didn't even notice that in the movie. I noticed the cutting out parts, but how you described it reminds me of like cartoons when you're a little kid where like the happy music will start playing before like the characters have twisted, like before like the bad guy's winning, but then like the happy song will start playing, so you know the good guys are about to come back. And it used to frustrate me as a kid where I was like, "Yeah, just gave it away." And that was like a Ninja Turtles thing.
Goddamn cartoons, man.
Pokemon does that all the time, actually. Fucking Pokemon. But Pokemon's a 9 out of 10.
We hate Pokemon. Terrible. I'll watch a Pokemon thing one day, I'm sure. Actually, I think I watched I watched some part of Pokemon as a kid because I remember there was an episode where Pikachu became Raichu or something. I was like, "Oh my god, Pikachu, he's gone. He's like a Raichu now."
No, he didn't want to become Raichu, and that was the whole point. He fought Raichu.
All right, there we go. It was terrifying. It scared me as a kid. That's horror right there.
Also, we've definitely talked about that before.
Yeah, true. Anyway, now my other...
That's like the 13th episode of the whole show, Alira. There's 1,000 episodes.
That means I probably watched the beginning and then gave up when I was a kid. Anyway, I have some complaints about this guy, okay? And these are like a mix of like annoying complaints, but also like, oh, this guy's like a dumb guy, but like it's fine. It's like a dumb character. What is this? Oh, there's the scene at work where it's like he first talks to his friend at work, and it's like a shot where he's like got his back facing away from her, or like back facing her, and you see her like blurred in the background. The whole conversation, she's like looking at him. Do you remember that?
It's like when she looks at him.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's like when she looks at him in the restaurant or whatever.
In the restaurant. Oh,
Like he
yeah,
goes
sure,
behind
yeah.
the thingy and then she stands up. True.
Yes, yes. Now, on one hand, I get it. It's a cool shot, okay? Having this thing in the background where it's blurred or whatever. At the same time, I'm just getting annoyed because I'm like, man, you shouldn't be talking about this with your back facing. Like, she could be sneaking up on
Gonna
you and
stab
hearing
you.
everything you're saying right now. Not even the stabbing, just like the awkward situation of like,
Well,
you're
your
literally
bro
talking
is gonna
about someone.
tell you, Alina. Your bro.
Yeah, but like, you don't have to have that. You could turn like 90 degrees, so you're at least in the corner of your
True.
eye. You could like see her.
For
or
a
something.
cool shot, Alina.
It
Shut
is
up.
for a cool shot, and I said how great that shot is, but oh my goodness, I was annoyed. There was a moment where he googled the stick thing. He like googled information about it and went to some like fake Reddit thing. I was like, man, why are you doing that? Like, go to the incognito mode or whatever. Like, we don't want this to be in the history where she can like look it up and like find out about this. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, man, you're so dumb.
Well, it was called like Probe or something, and I think it was supposed to be ChatGPT, the second one, not Reddit.
Well, no, one of them was something LM, which was like a ChatGPT like LLM reference, which was interesting because I'm like, oh, I didn't know this movie was that recent that they would have made it, but I guess it would be, right?
That shit came out in 2023 or some shit.
Well, it came out in 2023, but I'm like, oh, I guess movies they do get made in like movies like this especially, they probably get made really quickly. But things like The Odyssey probably take like
Iron
3
Man
years,
had
right?
AI way before you, Alina.
True. But yeah, the other thing was Reddit. That is true. What is this? Oh, he talks to himself too much. Like he talks about the cat. I think when the cat dies or something, and he's talking about how like when he's going to buy the necklace, and he's talking about how Nikki would hate that. I'm like, man, why are you talking to yourself right now? I don't like this. So I didn't like that. Then there was the bit we complained about, or at least I complained about. And I think you agree, where it's like, what's so bad about being with me? I'm like, God damn it, this is terrible. Like, come on, man, we're beyond this. Like, you're being possessed, like, or hunted by a demon right now. You don't need to deal with this.
No, hashtag relatable.
Oh, and then there's like, it's bad enough that he chooses to go to the car, because at that point I'm like justified. I'm like, whatever. She said she's going to show up at the house. We don't want her at the house right now. If Sarah's going to show up, we'd prefer we go to her than she come to this house right now, because she's probably going to die if she comes to this house. And that's bad enough where I'm like, okay, I'm a little annoyed that this is happening whatsoever. But then in this conversation in the car, there's a moment where he's like contemplating having a relationship with Sarah, where it's like he's not admitting anything or anything, but he's clearly open to it or whatever. And I'm like, man, like 15 minutes ago, you were sleeping with an obsessed demon next to you. How are you possibly in the mindset where you could possibly think about anything else right now? It was just like a weird thing. And I think this is more of like a...
Aliri's asexual, just admit it.
Well, I don't even... How does that relate to anything? Like,
I'm thinking about kissing that girl if I'm in that car, Aliri. I don't... not a thought about a demon on my mind.
I don't know. I would... This is just
gonna call me the demon.
This is the big difference. I was horrified watching this movie. It was all scary. That's all I could think about. And all you were thinking about was sex, Kyle. It was terrible. But true. And then my final note. Oh, oh my goodness. He returns to the store and he like goes and he tries to find the stick or whatever. And he can't find it. And all he does is he complains. Like he sees it. It's like they're available here or whatever. And then he complains to the guy. He's yelling at him. I'm like, man, just buy the stick and fix your situation here. Sorry, he was frustrating me. Okay. And then also my final complaint. Okay, is at certain points they did like a voice modulation thing where they made her voice scarier, and I didn't like that. I liked it when she was just yelling normally. Okay, but yeah, that's it. That's all my complaints. A good movie.
It was okay.
Yep. I would give this a 5-star. I like this a lot. Great movie.
Really?
Absolutely. This and Backrooms are both 5-star movies to me. I love them. But I'm a big fan of horror movies. If they scare me, I love them. And this one scared me, so...
I can accept Alita giving Backrooms a 5-star. I don't know if I can accept this one.
No, it's definitely a 5. For now, we'll see.
You spent this whole time complaining, Alita.
I just complained at the end. I like it. I like the... when I think of this movie, I think, man, that was a really well... Like, it looked really good. Like, really well cinematographed, or whatever the term is, movie. I like the horror stuff. I like Nikki's, like, calling the guy ew or whatever at certain points. And I like the devil showing up. I like it was very good. Scary. Good movie. Not as good as Backrooms, though. Backrooms is better, but I like both of them. Anyway.
They're both, like, 7 out of 10s, you know? Well, that would make them 3.5, so they're not. But they're not 8 out of 10s, Alita. Don't be ridiculous.
They're both like 7.95s, right?
No, they're probably closer to like lower 7s. I don't know what the fuck my ratings are anymore.
7.6. There you go.
They were kind of interesting, kind of boring.
All right.
But you know, Alita, one day I'll find another 5-star movie. It's been a long time since Ritual.
Yes, that is true.
Well, recommend me one, Alita. What should I watch next that's going to be 5 stars?
Was this a discussion thing or by yourself?
No, this is just a gag where you say a movie.
I would say No movie. You need to watch the Chainsaw Man movie again. My goodness, there's the Breeze arc. Oh my god, it was so good.
Hey, I liked that better when I watched
Okay,
it the second
you know what
time.
you need to watch? You need to watch Demon Slayer Infinity Castle Part 1. And that's it. Watch no other Demon
That
Slayer.
certainly is not going to be 5 stars, Aliri. I've never watched an anime movie and thought it was 5 stars. I keep trying to get you to watch Ninja Scroll, and that's only 4.5 stars.
True.
Mm-hmm. Well, Aliri,
Yep. That's
I've
it.
got nothing else to say.
All right, everyone. So thanks for showing up. Do you have any movies you want us to watch and review? Let us know in the comments below. But unless you have anything to say, Kyle, we can end it here.
Make sure to watch all of our Naruto videos over on the secondary ENT channel. We're coming up on we already spoiled it for Aliri, the Tenchi Bridge arc. So everybody get very excited. You want to hop over there. There's at least, let's say, 20 hours of material of us talking about everything going up to that point. That might not even be off Aliri. That might literally be the number.
Yep.
So you're going to love them. You're going to watch them. You can watch our Odyssey review on this very channel where we did the same thing. You can go and watch my Spider-Man review recently, Aliri. But you can't until you watch the movie.
Yep. All right.
True and true.
So that's that. See you later, everyone.